Hey everyone, welcome to the second season of What If Naruto Became a Dragon Summoner and Fell in Love with Kurama. As always, let me in the comments if you want more seasons. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So, enjoy!
Chapter 18 Leaving the Leaf. Naruto and his group decided to take the long route to go back to Konoha. As none of them had really recovered from their battle with the traitorous snake, they decided to take it easy until they reached Konoha. Consequently, they stopped at every hot springs, taverns and gambling houses on their way back to the Leaf. Jiraiya usually disappeared as soon as they arrived in a new town, supposedly going to scout the area for any potential danger, but you could almost always find him near the hot springs. Tsunade just went for the taverns to order their most expensive sake or just spent her time losing money at the local gambling houses. That only left Naruto and Shizune trying to prevent their master from doing those stupid things. As they finally made it back after 2 long weeks in front of the main gates of Konoha, everyone had different reactions at the sight of the giant doors. Jiraiya had a lecherous smirk on his face, most likely ready to go explore the less recommended area of the village. Naruto was relieved to have finally come home after successfully completing his first A-rank mission as a Chunin. For Tsunade and Shizune, however, it was the first time in more than a decade that they set foot in the village. Shizune tried to comfort her master as memories of the past and her losses came back rushing at her. The Chunin guarding the gates were surprised at the sudden appearance of not one but 2 of the legendary Sannin. They informed the group that Sarutobi had been expecting them for quite some time now and ordered for them to immediately report to the Hokage Tower as soon as they arrived. Hokage Office. They all arrived in front of the office of the Hokage using Shunshin, and before Shizune could require a meeting with the Sandaime with his secretary, Naruto just kicked the door open as usual before going inside. Jiraiya just followed his disciple with a smirk while Tsunade and Shizune were stunned at the blatant disrespect towards the shinobi no kami. "Hello, Gigi. I'm back from my mission," yelled Naruto as he stepped inside the office. "Nice to see you back, my boy. I assume the mission was a success seeing the guests you have with you," replied the old man. "It has been a long time, sensei," said Tsunade as she saw her old teacher. "It's good to be back, Hokage-sama," added Shizune. "Very well, I welcome you all back. Now, Naruto, I know you weren't the highest-ranking shinobi on this mission, but I'd like to hear your report anyway. Consider it a training, as your new duties as a Chunin will have you lead your own teams in the future. You will also have to do this at some point," announced Sarutobi. Naruto was not used to receive all the attention like this, from a room full of people of Kage level no less. He was red with embarrassment while the others were looking at him with smirks on their face, realizing that there was indeed something that could effectively shut the young exuberant blonde up. Naruto finally managed to regain his composure, took a deep breath, then started to report on what had happened on his mission. The meeting with Itachi and Kisame, then the tracking of Tsunade that led them to Tenzagugai to finally finish with the battle against Orochimaru and Kabuto. As Naruto finished his report, Sarutobi had to frown again at the interference of Orochimaru. He was already aware of Naruto meeting Itachi and his associate when Guy came back. He took a moment to gather his thoughts, then addressed the people in front of him again. "You did good, Naruto-kun. I'm very proud of you, and the mission will go on your record not as an A rank, but as a S rank one due to the interference of 2 S-class missing shinobi of our village. Tsunade, as you already know, I am stepping down. You will be the next Hokage after me, and the official coronation ceremony will take place next week. We need time to get the officials to arrive in Konoha to announce it. I have a few things for you to do in the meantime. We will discuss about them in a moment. Jiraiya, I want you to investigate the group that Itachi belongs to. Their goals are obviously linked to Naruto, so I want to know more about them. You are to leave as soon as possible, but we need a report at least in a month. Tsunade and Shizune, you will both head to the hospital as soon as possible. There are still lots of injured people there waiting for treatment, and especially a group of Genin and Chunin who just came back yesterday after some disturbing events I will reveal to you now." After this, Sarutobi motioned for everyone to get comfortable, then started to report the event that went on during the week that led to the situation they were in right now. Apparently, in the same time, Orochimaru tried to get Tsunade to join him and heal whoever he wanted her to heal. He also sent a group of shinobi called the Sound for here in Konoha in order to convince Uchiha Sasuke to join him. It seems they managed to infiltrate the village quite easily and successfully convinced the last loyal Uchiha to join their master. He was seen leaving the village freely by one Haruno Sakura, his teammate and longtime loyal fangirl. In her defense, the girl did try to stop him, but he easily knocked her out and she was found the following morning unconscious by a patrol. Sarutobi then took a short pause in his tale to let everyone assimilate what happened so far. Tsunade had to frown at her old teammate who once again tried to harm the leaf while Jiraiya was wondering what the snake wanted to do with the Uchiha heir. Naruto had no particular reaction to those events. Sure, he didn't really like to associate himself with Sasuke, but he never wished for anyone to become slaves to Orochimaru. After the short recess, Sarutobi continued with the report. According to Sakura's testimony, Sasuke and the Sound Four had less than a day ahead, so he organized a track and pursuit mission with the sparse elements he had at his disposal. Team 9 and 10 were available. Aburame Shino would temporarily replace Naruto in Team 8 while Sakura would replace Lee in Team 9. This made a total of 3 genin teams with a newly appointed Chunin to lead them in the person of Hyuga Niji for Team 9, Nara Shikamaru for Team 10 and Aburame Shino for Team 8. The Jonin sensei were all occupied with other mission at that moment. According to the reports, the track and pursuit teams managed to catch up with the fleeing group in less than a day. Apparently the Sound Four had to carry Sasuke's body, who was inside a wooden box with strange markings on it, making their pace much slower than normal. As to why Sasuke was in that box, no one really knew. The Konoha's forces even came in contact with the team from Suna who took part in the Chunin exams by pure coincidence. As a sign of good faith between allies, the team from Suna joined them in their mission to recover the Uchiha. With the firepower they had and the advantage in numbers, they managed to wipe out the Sound Four members. However, as they were about to retrieve the box containing the body of Uchiha Sasuke, it suddenly opened and from it came out a very different Sasuke. He was a lot stronger and faster than what they could remember of him. Team 8, who was the only one around him when the box opened since all the teams chose to split in order to neutralize the 4 bodyguards, was not able to stop him from leaving. Sasuke managed first to incapacitate the surprised Hinata and Kiba. The final fight took place at the Valley of the End at the borders between Fire and Rice Country. Shino was the one to face his teammate from Team 7. Sasuke ended up injuring critically Shino with a lightning jutsu that made everyone in the room frown knowing who he learned it from. Sasuke ended up leaving towards Rice Country where the Konoha forces could not follow him. The rest of the rookies were escorted back to Konoha, some more injured than the others, but the one needing the most attention was Shino. Sarutobi finished the report, then urged Tsunade and Shizune to head to the hospital and take charge once there. He dismissed Naruto and Jiraiya after that. Konoha Hospital. Naruto decided to follow Tsunade and Shizune to the hospital, guessing that most of his comrades were there and especially his team. Jiraiya decided to go his way, though he took the direction of Konoha's hot springs. Once at the hospital, every medical staff immediately recognized Tsunade. She decided to go to the central office and from there organize her work for the following days with Shizune. Naruto went to the receptionist and asked for the rooms of the rookies and especially his teammates. It turns out that thanks to Gaara's intervention and his siblings, most of the rookies were safe with only minor injuries. The only one who really needed Tsunade's help was Shino. He had been stabilized, but he still needed emergency treatment. Naruto had been happy to see Gaara again. It seemed that he was on much better terms with his family that last time. He thanks them all for their help even if Gaara said that he didn't need to, saying that Suna was Konoha's ally. The Jonin sensei started to arrive too. Kurenai was relieved to see that her team was all right. Kakashi, though, had a sad look in his eyes. He realized that he failed his team as a teacher. His student betrayed the leaf, and in doing so he also critically injured his own teammate. Guy and Asuma tried to cheer him up, but he just went to visit Shino, then left without saying a word to anyone else. After seeing that everyone was all right or in good hands, Naruto finally decided to go home. Naruto's apartment. That night Naruto couldn't sleep. He thought about the last events, his meeting with Itachi and Kisame, his fight with Kabuto, and then how Orochimaru almost killed him if it wasn't for Tsunade. "You can't sleep, Narukuin?" asked Natsuki through their link. "I was thinking about my dream, Nachan. To become the Hokage has always been my dream, even before I knew that my father was the 4th. Replied Naruto. "What about it? Is it not your dream anymore?" Natsuki asked, a little confused by her mate's words. "It's not that, I still want to become Hokage, the best there ever was. I just can't help but feel that I'm not strong enough. I need to become much more stronger than this if I want to be able to protect my precious one. The day I finally find a way to free you, I don't want to be a burden to you. You are the most powerful bijou, but there's a man with powers strong enough to control you. I can't let this happen. I won't let this happen," confessed Naruto. "So that's what on your mind and keep you from sleeping? Listen to me. You will never be a burden to me. There is no risk of that man ever using his powers to control me again either. When I was forced out of your mother, I was weak and unprepared. That's how he could surprise me. I will not fall for the same attack twice, believe me." She replied to him, "Okay, I believe you, but I still want to become stronger. You may feel that I'm strong enough as I am, but I can't help but feel the need to know that not only you but everyone that's precious to me is safe too," Naruto said with conviction. "Then there is only one way: you have to train. It may be a good idea to distance yourself from Konoha, from your life as a ninja for a while. You've come a long way in your mastery over your bloodline, but there is still more to be done. If you stay here, you will be constantly interrupted in your training to become stronger," analyzed Natsuki. "But where should I go? There are some strong people out there who want my head. And now that Sasuke has gone to Orochimaru, only God knows what the snake is doing with his new toy. They both pretty hate my guts," replied Naruto. "We will think about it later. Try to get some sleep for now. There's still some time before you have to make a decision," said Natsuki as they both went to sleep. Hokage office, 1 month later. It's been a month since that night where Naruto vowed to become stronger for the sake of his loved ones. During that time, Tsunade took charge and became the 5th Hokage. Sarutobi became her only advisor as she decided to fire the 2 others, while Danzo managed to integrate the civilian council by some loophole with his youth centers. Tsunade was currently sitting behind the Hokage desk. Jiraiya had just come back from his investigation mission this morning. As the news also concerned him, Naruto had been summoned by Tsunade to her office to hear the news from Jiraiya. Sarutobi was also present in the room as Naruto arrived, oblivious to why he was there. After sealing the room, Tsunade motioned for Jiraiya to start his report. "From what I could gather with my spies, it looks like there is an organization called Akatsuki whose goal is to gather all the bijou. For what objective I don't know yet. They are composed of S-rank missing ninja from all villages with no distinction. I can only say so far that we know Uchiha Itachi from the Leaf and Hashigaki Kisame from Kiri are active members, while Orochimaru was at one time a member as well but decided to leave them," started Jiraiya. "Now about our friend the snake, it seems he managed to successfully open the door to immortality. By a complex process, he is able to transfer his soul into the body of a host. Then he takes total control of that body and the soul of the previous host simply vanishes as a result. My guess is that he wanted Tsunade to heal whoever he had planned to take as a host in the event that he couldn't get the Uchiha," continued Jiraiya. "According to my spies, both sides require long and complex preparations in order to perform what they intend to do. Therefore, my estimation is that we have a 3-year preparation time in front of us before any side decides to move again," finished Jiraiya. "Did he, took Sasuke's body?" asked Naruto. "It seems the Uchiha did not arrive on time and Orochimaru had to transfer into another body in the meantime. So it's safe to say that he too has 3 years before him," replied Jiraiya. "That's also one of the reasons we are all here today, Naruto," spoke Tsunade. "Seeing what's ahead of you in the future, we feel it is essential that you too prepare for the future," added Sarutobi. "Consequently, you will become my full-time apprentice for the 3 years to come. I will take you out of the village and will train you to become Konoha's best during that time. I have already informed Kurenai about this, and you will be placed on the reserved list from Konoha's ninja during that time," finished Jiraiya. Naruto's eyes widened at all this. It was perfect. He would get to do what he discussed about with Natsuki. With Jiraiya by his side, he would not have to fear all the time that others might come to harm him, even if he seemingly had 3 years of peace from his worst enemies. "When do we leave?" asked Naruto with a smirk. "We leave tomorrow at dawn. Go pack and take a good look at the village. You won't be see it again for quite some time after that," replied Jiraiya. "I'm going to miss you, Gigi, Bachan," said Naruto as he went to give Tsunade and Sarutobi a hug. "We LL miss you too, brat. and I hope that when you come back the pervert will have teach you how to properly address your superiors. Tsunade said with a smirk while Sarutobi chuckled. You're not my superiors, you're my precious ones, said Naruto as he finally left, no to be seen around Konoha again for the next 3 years. Chapter 19, Return of the Wind. Konoha Hokage office. Tsunade was sitting behind her desk inside her office. It was late in the morning, and she was finishing some paperwork from the pile of papers that Shizune, her assistant, just brought in yesterday. Taking a break from her current activities, she saw a picture on her desk. It was a picture taken from before she took the job of Hokage, when Naruto and Jiraiya were escorting her back to Konoha. Seeing the picture made her remember that it had already been 3 years since Naruto left with Jiraiya to improve his skills. The pervert had regularly sent her reports on the blonde's progress during the first year, but it mysteriously stopped after that. It had then been 2 long years after that before she got news again about them. She received last month a short letter saying that they would come back the next month. According to their letter, Jiraiya and Naruto were scheduled to come back to Konoha during this week. She knew nothing of Naruto's current level of skill though. Jiraiya only told her in his letters from the first year that he was training Naruto in ninjutsu, fuinjutsu, and basic genjutsu. Tsunade thought that she would need to organize a test to know Naruto's true level as soon as he comes back. She suddenly felt tired, the 2 empty bottles of sake behind her most likely being the reason. She slowly closed her eyes and then fell asleep with a smile on her face, thinking about the last living blood relative she had left in this world. Konoha main gates. As the sun was high in the sky, 2 chunin were seated at the main gates checkpoint. Today was a slow day. No one except the regular merchants and occasional Anbu patrols had come through the gate since this morning. Suddenly, from far away on the horizon, could be seen 2 figures slowly making their way towards the village. As they approached, Kotetsu and Izumo could finally identify the 2 shadows as Jiraiya the Toad Sage. The other one, though, was wearing a white mask with a fox design, and his outfit was unusual. Seeing as the mysterious man was escorted by the great Jiraiya, no one seemed too anxious at letting him in. The 2 men quickly went through the gate and took the direction of the Hokage Tower using the rooftops, most likely not wanting to deal with anyone's curiosity just yet. All the civilians could see was 2 white and gray blurs traveling at top speed on top of the buildings. Even shinobi had trouble seeing them moving. They did not stop once on their way and soon arrived at the feet of the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. The 2 men arrived in front of Tsunade's office. Shizune was at her desk in front of the door and took some time to notice their presence. Once she was finally aware of the arrival of the 2 men, she immediately recognized Jiraiya, but the other man, though, didn't ring any bell. She granted them access to her master's office, saying that she was currently doing some non-important paperwork, and then followed after them as they went inside. Hokage office. As the group went inside, they could see that Tsunade was indeed not doing anything important. The woman was actually asleep, drooling all over the paperwork she was supposed to fill, and 2 empty bottles of sake could be seen behind her. Shizune was about to go wake her master up when Jiraiya put a hand on her shoulder, signaling her to wait. The second man then went ahead and tried to shake the blonde woman's shoulder in order to wake her up. His action made Tsunade throw one of her chakra-powered punch at him. Shizune was already fearing the worst for the stranger, but what she saw made her jaw drop to the ground. When Tsunade's punch was about to reach his face, he just used his free hand to catch it, not feeling any recoil as his hand did not even tremble. A finally awake Tsunade frowned at the man in front of her, not recognizing him, and she did not see her assistant or Jiraiya behind him either. Who the hell are you? I've never seen you before. You've got some guts to come in here and touch the leader of this village in such a rude way, roared the blonde woman, visibly not enjoying that wake-up call. A chuckle could be heard behind the man's mask, but before Tsunade could say more, he finally decided to speak. I'm hurt. I've been gone for only 3 years, and you already forgot all about me, Bachan? He said in a mocking tone before taking out his mask. Tsunade finally saw Jiraiya behind. Then the man in front of her, who again was very rude to her, could only be one person. After 3 long years, he was finally back. Naruto! The shout could be heard from each side of the blonde, as he was tackled into a giant hug from both sides by Tsunade and Shizune. I'm glad you did not forget about me, but could you let go? It's kinda hard to breathe like this. Naruto said with a grin on his face. The two women immediately let go of him, with both a blush on their faces. Now that they could take the time to look at him, they realized how much he changed in the last 3 years while Jiraiya was exactly the same. Naruto was extremely tall now, as tall as Jiraiya in fact. His hair grew longer and his bangs were falling on each sides of his face. He wore a white jacket with a high collar, a white hakama with a black sash and white zori with black tabi socks. He didn't seem to carry any weapon except for what looked like a small katana or wakizashi hanging on his sash. All in all, Naruto became what could only be resumed as a blonde Adonis in the span of those 3 years, the two women in the room wondering if assuming the role of mother and sister figure for the young man in front of them was really such a good idea anymore. When the shock of the meeting finally passed, Tsunade spoke first. Naruto, Jiraiya, why did you only contacted me once in the last 2 years? She demanded. Well, let's just say that training was crazy, and some other things too prevented us from contacting you more, said Naruto before Jiraiya could open his mouth. Master and disciple exchanged strange looks with each other, then Jiraiya just shrugged and let his student continue. This did not went unnoticed by Tsunade, but she chose to let it slide for now. Anyway, I've been gone for a long time now, and I can't wait to start taking on missions again, Bachan, said Naruto with a grin while Tsunade was getting angrier by the second at the repetitive use of that nickname. Well, before that, I need to know more about your current level of skill, Naruto. I was actually thinking about scheduling you a test in order to observe your level as soon as you get back to Konoha, replied the Hokage. That's fine, what do you have in mind? Asked Naruto. What's his general level of skill right now according to you, Jiraiya? She asked her ex-teammate. I would say definitely higher than Jonin, but other than that you will have to test him in each field to know for sure, answered the Toad Sage cryptically. Tsunade once again felt that something was going on with Jiraiya's vague answer and took notice to ask more later. Alright then, it seems you're still lucky as ever, Naruto. I know the perfect people to test you and most of them are available this week. I will let you rest for the rest of the day, then tomorrow morning you will come to the stadium in order to get tested by them, announced Tsunade. Very well, if that's all, I'd like to go rest for my test tomorrow then, replied Naruto. Getting a nod from Tsunade, he then left her office with a shunshin. I'll be going to Tsunade. I'll see you tomorrow at the stadium, said Jiraiya as he also left in the same manner. There's definitely something going on that those two didn't tell me. We'll know more after the test tomorrow, thought Tsunade as she returned to her paperwork and prepared the summons for the people who would test Naruto. Naruto's apartment. This night as Naruto went to sleep, he immediately accessed his mindscape. Once there, he was immediately tackled to the ground by a red blur. So how does it feel to finally be back home, Narukuin? Asked Natsuki. I guess it feels okay. I thought I would miss the village more, but that wasn't the case, he replied. Do you really plan to not tell anyone about your project? She continued. Yes. They would try to stop me if I told them, and I cannot let that happen, Naruto said with conviction. Please just be careful. I don't want you to get into troubles over this, she replied, obviously worried for him. Everything will be fine, don't worry, Nachan. Let's go back inside, he reassured her as they made their way into her mansion. Konoha Stadium. It was 9 in the morning as Naruto made his way to the stadium. This brought back memories from the first time he went there for the Chunin exam finals. This made him wonder how everybody else was doing these days. He directly went home yesterday to rest and did not have the opportunity to catch up with anyone. As he went inside the arena, his eyes widened as he took a look at the spectators' area. It seems like word of his return and subsequent testing had spread around. In the stands could be seen lots of familiar faces. All the rookies were there except for him and Sasuke. Surprisingly, Temari of the Sand was also there. He also saw Anko and Asuma. His Gigi was also there with a kid that must have been his grandson. He recognized the last group of people as the Council of Konoha. Finally, Tsunade arrived with Jiraiya and Shizune behind her. He decided to wear his mask until the fight and slowly made his way to the center of the arena. Kage box. Tsunade was surprised to see so many people in the spectator seats but chose to ignore it, though the presence of the council made her wonder how they knew of the event so fast. Uzumaki Naruto, you have been summoned here today to be tested on every field of the ninja arts before I can safely put you back on the active list of Konoha shinobi, announced Tsunade, getting a nod from the still-masked Naruto. Your opponents for today's test will be Mizukage for Taijutsu, Yuhi Kurinai for Jinjutsu, Yuzuki Yugao for Kinjutsu, and finally Hatake Kakashi for Ninjutsu. Any objection? She said to him as he remained silent. Very well then, let's begin, concluded the Godame. Spectators area. The spectators were currently discussing about the upcoming fights. I can't believe that Naruto gets to fight with our most powerful shinobi in each of the shinobi arts, started Choji. He looks nothing like the old Naruto with those new clothes, said Ino. Troublesome, added Shikamaru. I wonder how he will fare against Gai-sensei, said Lee. That short katana of his intrigues me, Tenten said as she observed his weapon. It will be interesting to see what his training under a Sannin gave him, analyzed Niji. There is no way he can beat any of his opponents, and especially Kakashi-sensei with his Sharingan, said Sakura. Shino, Kiba, Temari, and Hinata decided to remain silent, already knowing to never underestimate Naruto. Arena. Naruto stood in the center of the arena waiting for his opponents to arrive. A Shunshin suddenly popped in front of him, revealing one Shiranui Gunma. As you can guess, I'll proctor again for the duration of your test, declared Gunma. For more Shunshin appeared, this time in the contestant waiting zone. Naruto's opponents all stood there with their ninja gears, ready to fight. Guy was the first to go out and made his way towards the center of the arena to join Naruto and Genma. Mado Guy versus Uzumaki Naruto. As Guy arrived in front of Naruto and Genma, he gave his opponent the nice guy pose, then signaled to the referee that he was ready to start. Naruto also gave a nod to Genma, and the man finally started the match. Naruto immediately launched his trademark Kitsune Yurei against his opponent, but Guy easily blocked him and knew perfectly which one of the illusion was fake or not. Before Naruto could fall back, Guy hit him with a powerful spinning kick, as he called it Konoha Senpu. Guy was about to charge at him, but Naruto held up his hand, asking for a moment, to which Guy nodded and stopped his course. As expected of Mado Guy, Konoha's taijutsu specialist. I'm sorry I underestimated you. It won't happen again. Just give me a second, please, said Naruto respectfully. Naruto then took some steps towards the spectators' area and first took off his mask. Some gasp could be heard from the spectators as several women saw how handsome he looked under his mask. Naruto then started to slowly take out his vest, showing that he was wearing nothing under it. Every woman in the stadium started to blush at his action. Having a good look at his body, they could see that he was quite muscular, but no overly so, the perfect balance between power and speed. This also showed the different marks he had on his upper body. Most already knew about two of his tattoo, but it seemed he had a new one placed just above his heart. The first mark on his left forearm was the tattoo of his dragon summoning contract. The second was the mark of the fox on his right biceps, and finally the last one over his heart had the form of a small circle with three smaller marks inside that looked like koma and were placed in a triangular way. Naruto finally took out the katana he had on his hips and placed it with his vest and mask on the ground in a safe place before making his way back towards the center of the arena. When he got there, he did a single hand sign, then called his technique Futon Muga no Kyuchi. The air around them started to feel strange and heavy for Genma and Guy, as if someone had given them additional weights to wear over their clothes. People could also see that the strange tattoo over Naruto's heart changed. The circle disappeared, leaving only the three remaining koma, and even the spectators could feel the air around them getting warmer. Naruto then signaled to Guy that he was ready with a bow, thanking him for his patience. The two fighters resumed their match, exchanging blows in a high-level taijutsu match. Naruto changed his strategy, opting to only try to counter Guy's attempts and dancing all around his opponent. The fight went on like this for several minutes, but to the more experienced shinobi in the audience, whatever Naruto did earlier worked, since he was increasingly getting faster than Guy and managed to connect more and more counters against his opponent. After another high-speed exchange, the two finally separated. Guy was seen panting and trying to catch his breath, while Naruto seemed perfectly fine. How did you do this, Naruto? You seem so much faster than in the beginning of our fight, my youthful opponent, asked a confused Guy. Now that would be telling, wouldn't it? I may be convinced to tell you after our fight if you defeat me, Guy-san, replied Naruto with a smirk. Guy replied with his eternal nice guy pose, then took a strange stance, making those who knew of it in the stands widen their eyes. Hashiman Tanku, Kai! Yelled Guy as his body radiated with chakra. He then charged at Naruto with godlike speed, leaving a trail of dust in his path. The taijutsu exchange resumed, but this time Naruto was hard-pressed and took a few very powerful hits without even once being able to counter his opponent. Knowing that he had to somehow change the flow of this match, Naruto decided to unleash more of his powers and fell back for a moment. So that's the ultimate form of your Gakken taijutsu style? I'm deeply impressed, but let me show you one of the ultimate forms of my style, announced Naruto as he closed his eyes and called his next technique Futon. Seiki Kanpatsu no Kiwami. Once again his new tattoo changed, and this time it was one of the koma that disappeared. With his eyes still closed, he told Guy that he was ready. Knowing better than to underestimate his opponent, Guy simply charged at Naruto again. To his great surprise though, before his punch even reached halfway of the distance to Naruto's face, the blonde had already launched his counter and kicked him in the sternum. With both their speed greatly increased, that counter did its job. Guy was down and had trouble to get up or even catch his breath. Before Naruto could further press his advantage, Guy held out his hand and signaled the end of the fight, stopping Naruto in his tracks. I've seen enough, Naruto. With our current level of skill, going any further would place this fight in a life or death situation, which we don't need. Your taijutsu skill is most likely close to mine, though we can't be sure. I know I didn't defeat you, but could you explain to me what those two jutsu of yours did during our fight? I'm most impressed by the second one. Even Sharingan and Byakugan wielders can't predict my moves when I open my inner the gates. The first one was impressive too. That speed bonus it gave you was surprising, said Guy. I suppose there's no harm in telling you, Guy-san. No one should be able to copy or break them anyway. You are both right and wrong on my techniques. The first one didn't get me a speed boost, as you said. It is actually the opposite. It is no my speed that increased but yours that dropped. Started Naruto, but seeing Guy frown, not understanding or maybe not believing his claims, he continued his explanation. What I mean by that is that while I sustained my speed, I used my jutsu to slow yours down. Muga no Kyuchi is the absolute control over the wind element. What you felt in the beginning was me applying pressure to the air all around us in the arena in order to replicate the environment of a high-altitude place by releasing high quantity of my chakra in the air. As a consequence, the level of oxygen in the air decreased, and every effort you made only served to tire you out faster. While I was aware of all this, and more importantly, I trained my body to work in this kind of environment, explained Naruto to an astonished audience. Now, as for the second move, I know that your style is great against Jujutsu users, but mine had nothing to do with it. Seiki Kanpatsu no Kiwami gives me the absolute understanding of the air flowing around me. I don't need to see, hear, or even smell my opponent. In the field of my jutsu, I am able to feel any movement made by my opponent and then adjust to it. The faster or stronger my opponent is, and the more damage he will receive when countered. As soon as you charged at me and moved your arm by even an inch, I knew how to counter you. Me closing my eyes is just a way to confuse or destabilize my opponents. Finished Naruto, leaving Guy and the audience gasp at the infinite possibilities that his style offered, though some already planned to discover how to reproduce it for their own gains, even if he said that it was supposedly impossible to copy. That's amazing, Naruto, to think that someone so young could perform those things. You said that Seiki Kanpatsu no Kiwami was one of your ultimate forms. Then am I correct to assume that you have other forms of that level? Asked Guy. That's correct, Guy-san. But I'll let you and the others discover them if I ever feel like I have to use them today, replied Naruto with a grin. Guy simply smiled and left the arena to join the spectators after giving him a final nice guy pose. We will have a small pause, then the next fight will begin, announced Gunma. Chapter 20, Genius of Hard Work. Konoha Stadium, spectators area. As Naruto was taking a highly deserved break, people were commenting on his first fight with the taijutsu specialist of Konoha. The most impressed were, of course, the shinobi, whose style are heavily based on taijutsu, as the Hyuga or Inazuka. Hinata and Kiba were happy for their teammate, while Neji had to admit that Naruto did once again surpass fate. He, a non-Jujutsu holder, was able to go above his limitations in order to achieve what even the most powerful Byakugan or Sharingan users couldn't in defeating the Gakken. For Lee, it was a more complicated issue. Thanks to the return of Tsunade, he had been able to resume his duties as a shinobi after she healed him. He trained hard and non-stop, following the footsteps of his sensei. To see someone his age perform on the same level as his teacher made him question if hard work was enough to achieve greatness. Sensing his students' turmoil, Guy, who had joined the spectators, told him that even Naruto, someone considered a genius like the Uchiha or Hyuga, most likely also trained hard to reach his current level despite his natural talents. This cheered him up, and soon the duo started to exchange nice guys poses and spring of youth declarations. The others were simply in awe or prostrated in silence at the display of skill from Naruto. Even Sakura, who had been studying under Tsunade for the last 3 years, now felt respect for Naruto. On her master's orders, she had regularly trained with Guy and his student in order to perfect her medical taijutsu style, and knew firsthand how powerful Guy's Gakken style was. The break finally ended and Naruto stood up ready for his next test. Kagebox. Tsunade, who was silently enjoying a cup of sake, also stood up and announced the next part of Naruto's test. You will now be tested in your genjutsu proficiency, Naruto. Kurenai, please start the test, declared the blonde Hokage. She was about to sit down again when Naruto interrupted her. Actually, Hokage-sama, if it's not a problem, I would like the next test to be on genjutsu and kenjutsu at the same time, asked a surprisingly polite Naruto. Tsunade quickly regained her composure from being called by a respectful name by Naruto and narrowed her eyes before speaking again. Are you implying that you won't be able to fight seriously if you're facing only one kunoichi and not two? I thought you would be more respectful about women, especially since this is your teacher that was chosen to test you, said an irate Tsunade. Naruto stayed calm and bowed his head before replying. I assure you that it is nothing like that. Surely you are aware that I never could perform the simplest genjutsu in my youth because of reasons out of my control. He started getting a nod from his leader, perfectly aware of his chakra control problem. Well, instead of trying to fix it, I found a way around my problem. But as a consequence, my genjutsu techniques don't work like the classical ones. I have to rely on other shinobi arts to take full advantage of them, and kenjutsu is a perfect one for that. He continued. Finally, as you said, Kurenai-sensei is my teacher. Yugao-sensei also taught me a lot in the past. I have the utmost respect for both of them as women and as kunoichi. They are both very beautiful and deadly in their own field of expertise. I am perfectly fine with staying a chunin should I fail to perform adequately against both of them at the same time, finished Naruto as he bowed before Kurenai and Yugao this time. Both women blushed at his last argument on their skill and feminine charms, and knew he meant no disrespect towards them. They nodded to Tsunade, signaling they were fine with what Naruto asked. Seeing as Kurenai and Yugao agreed to your idea, I see no reason not to allow it as long as you know that you will be doing lots of gate guarding time should you fail this test, finally announced Tsunade with a smirk when she got a nod from Naruto. Arena. As the two women made their way towards him and Genma, Naruto once again started to unzip his jacket and then took it off and put it aside with his mask, but kept the katana this time. He got the same reaction from the women in the audience he got the first time, and especially from the two in front of him right there. Do you have to fight almost naked again, Naruto? Said a blushing Kurenai, having the chance this time to observe Naruto's new stature up close, while Yugao, who did not have her usual ANBU gear in order to not reveal her identity, chose to watch a surprisingly interesting ground. Hi, I do. I promise there's a good reason, and you will understand why soon, sensei, replied an embarrassed Naruto while scratching the back of his head. Seeing as everyone was ready, Genma gave approval for the test to start. Yuhi Kurenai and Yuzuki Yugao versus Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto immediately did a familiar hand sign and launched his Muga no Kyuchi wind field, then took a defensive stance with his short katana in his right hand ready to pierce his target. It was a beautiful wakizashi, with a blue handle, while the tsuba was composed of two golden metal pieces that seemed to form a S symbol when placed together around the blade. Kurenai chose to stay relatively close to him. Having heard of his new aptitude to drain his opponent's stamina, she wasn't too concerned about that since her art didn't rely strongly on stamina. She then prepared her next move against him. Yugao, however, decided to put some distance between them and wait for the right moment to charge in, as Kurenai would no doubt give her an opportunity to strike at Naruto once he shows an opening in his guard. She decided to send chakra to her feet and be ready to jump in when she could, since contrary to her friend, Yugao needed the stamina to support her kenjutsu. Seeing his two sensei in position and ready to exploit any opening he would show, Naruto decided to prepare himself in order to launch his first Jinjutsu technique. He used his katana to lightly cut the skin on his thumb, then used some blood over his fox tattoo. The tattoo glowed once, then suddenly an explosion of chakra radiated all over the audience. The wind picked up violently, dragging lots of dust all over the arena. The Akugan holders could see that Naruto's chakra output practically doubled. To the rest, the air felt a lot warmer to them high in the stands. As he took back his defensive stance, Naruto finally launched his Genjutsu, Futon, Maboroshi no Sekai. As everyone waited to see what Naruto's jutsu would do, they were surprised that it actually did nothing, as both Kurenai and Yugao were still up with their guard raised. Everyone then assumed he failed at catching either of them in his technique. Kurenai immediately took this opportunity to launch her own Genjutsu, Megan Jibakusatsu. All those who had already been subjected to that jutsu knew Kurenai would trap her victim in an illusion that would make it seem like a tree out of nowhere was coiling itself around them, making them unable to move from that spot and thus completely defenseless. It looked like her jutsu managed to catch Naruto off guard, since he suddenly dropped his guard. His eyes looked empty and he had both his arms loosely hanging on each side of his body, though he still held his katana. Seeing the opportunity she was waiting for, Yugao immediately dashed towards the defenseless Naruto in order to incapacitate him in a submission hold before signaling to Kurenai to drop her control over him. Both were a little sad that their prize student would fail so fast against them when he announced that he wouldn't. No one in the stadium was expecting Naruto to get out of that situation except for one smirking pervert who couldn't wait to see the face of everybody once the trick is revealed. As Yugao appeared in a blinding speed right behind Naruto, ready to put her katana close to his neck to show that he lost, she was surprised that the moment she touched him, instead of making contact with his skin, her blade continued and went through what looked like an illusion that did not even dispel. Another Naruto then slowly appeared out of thin air right in front of her. He held his blade back, although pointing the tip in her direction. Then she heard him slowly say, "Futon, Kaze Shinso." The blade of Naruto's katana instantly glowed as he pronounced those words. Then, in a flash, it seemed to extend itself at an amazing speed, as everyone could see the tray of light leaving the handle of his katana, then traveling in Yugao's direction. Years of experience allowed the ANBU operative to narrowly escape the flash of light coming her way, but her eyes suddenly widened when she saw the smirk on his face. She wasn't his real target. She tried to warn Kurenai of the incoming danger, but was too late already, as the ray of light was already in front of her friend. Kurenai was not expecting such an attack, and in a reflex, she closed her eyes at the last moment, seeing the approaching blade aimed at her neck. When she reopened her eyes, she saw that she was fine, but heard cracking sounds from the tree just behind her. She understood that if Naruto wanted, his blade would have killed her just a second ago. She simply smiled, then stood back, deciding to not interfere anymore in this test. Seeing that his sensei retired from the fight, Naruto bowed to her, then charged at Yugao with his katana. As she saw him approach, ready to slash in a vertical swing, she held up her own katana to block him, but suddenly felt something cold against the back of her neck. Slowly turning around, she saw the smirking face of one Uzumaki Naruto holding his katana against her neck. "I yield, Naruto, congratulations," said Yugao with a smile. "Thanks, Yugao-sensei," replied Naruto as he relaxed his body and cancelled all his jutsu. Kurenai then joined them in the center of the arena and spoke first. "Before we start, I would like confirmation that you only used Jinjutsu and Kenjutsu in this test," she said, receiving a nod from Naruto. "He's telling the truth, sensei. I had my Byakugan activated at all time during the test," said Hinata from the stands. "I see. Then I'm ashamed to ask, but could you explain how you caught us both in your Jinjutsu, and how it works, since I didn't even felt any disturbance in my chakra system? I would also like to know how you escaped one of my most powerful Jinjutsu, since the last time we tried you couldn't even resist the most basic ones," said Kurenai. "When did you assume that you were not caught in my Jinjutsu, sensei?" asked Naruto with a grin. "You once taught me that Jinjutsu is the ability to manipulate one's flow of chakra in the victim's brain, thus causing a disruption in their senses. Basically, you take something fake and plant it inside the mind of your victim. Now, as you know, I never had the chakra control to perform that, so I went the other way around and managed to find a way to create my own Jinjutsu art. What if, instead of disrupting my enemy's senses, I made it so that what he really senses from the outside is fake? Inside my wind field, You cannot trust your brain or senses. Started Naruto as everyone around him was oblivious to what he said. I can control what you see using the refraction phenomena that applies when you see mirages in the desert by overheating the air in certain spots. I can also control what you hear using the vibration in the air in order to create any kind of sound I wish to make you hear, such as incoming footsteps in a wrong direction. I can also make you feel the wind generated by the movement of something around you, whether it is real or not. Obviously, I can also do the opposite and mask my true presence to you in all of those aspects. Explained Naruto, leaving once again the entire audience speechless. There is no dispelling against this technique since I do not feed you any of my chakra to tamper with your brain. In fact, as far as you know, everything you sensed in that field was real and your brain never lied to you. Same about Jujutsu users or mind blocks. None of them can counter this. Finished Naruto with a smirk, while some of the Hyuga and Uchiha lovers had to scowl at that assessment. That was amazing, Naruto. You went above everything I thought was possible and made your own way in an art that was supposedly not made for powerhouse chakra holders like you. How did you escape my jutsu? Said Kurenai. For one, you were focusing your jutsu on a mirage. Even then, in order to reach me, you have to cast your jinjutsu by expelling your chakra in the air, and as you know, I can disrupt anything that comes at me by using air as a medium inside my field. Replied Naruto. Very well, seeing how you countered me and then caught both of us in your illusion field, I think it is safe to say that you have at least reached elite Jonin level in Jinjutsu skills. Analyzed Kurenai before turning her head towards Yugao. I see that you opted for something slightly longer than those kunai you used to wield to improve your defensive stance, as I said that it was one of your weakness. I also heard about your fight with Momochi Zabuza the Kiri no Kijin, and how he was able to read your reach even when you used your Kaze no Ken. It seems you also overcame that weakness by constantly changing your weapon's reach with that strange piercing technique of yours. Said Yugao, getting a nod from Naruto. I will concur with Guy and Kurenai. You also have at least elite Jonin level in Kenjutsu skills. Yugao said, finishing her analysis. Thanks, Yugao-sensei. Replied a smiling Naruto. We will take a break to allow everyone to have lunch and then finish with the last test this afternoon. Announced Gunma. Kagebox. Tsunade was about to leave and go back to her office when a Chunin suddenly shunshined in front of her. Hokage-sama, emergency transmission from Suna. The Kazekage has been kidnapped and Akatsuki is most likely behind it, according to them. They require immediate assistance and the return of their ambassador Temari. Said the Chunin. Chapter 21. Race Against Time. Konoha Hokage office. Tsunade sat behind her desk with a cup of tea in her hand. She was reading the scroll sent to them by Suna, asking for Konoha's help in dealing against Akatsuki, who abducted Gaara the Kazekage. She knew that time was a critical factor for the rescue mission she was about to program. Out of all her shinobi, she knew that only Naruto and Jiraiya had experience in fighting against Akatsuki. She would also need a good tracking team to go with them as well as a good medic. Having made her choice, she called for Shizune to start summoning the people who would take part in the mission. She also summoned an ANBU team to go to the stadium and tell all those present there that the tests were cancelled. She had already seen enough of Naruto's abilities and knew which rank he would assume now that he's back in active duty. Time skip, half an hour later. Inside Tsunade's office now stood several people. Temari, ambassador of Suna, was wondering why she was summoned by the Hokage, and apparently she wasn't the only one. Team 8 with their Jonin-sensei Kurenai as well as Jiraiya the Toad Sage and Sakura were also here. Naruto was the first to break the silence as usual. Why are we here, Bachan? I thought I had 1 hour before the test resumes. He asked, clueless as to why he was called here while in the middle of a meal eating his 10th bowl or ramen. Your test has been cancelled. There's an emergency. 30 minutes ago, we received a coded message from Suna saying that Gaara had been kidnapped. They spotted at least 2 enemies, wearing black robes with red clouds on them. They are aware of our past experience in dealing with Akatsuki and have asked for our help. Ambassador Temari, you are also to return to your village with the team I will send. Replied Tsunade. Temari was speechless. A million things flashed in her mind. Someone was actually strong enough to come inside her village and kidnap her brother. Hinata had a hand on the Suna representative's shoulder, trying to comfort her. Kiba and Kurenai stayed silent. Is it Itachi and Kisame again? Asked Jiraiya in his serious spy mode, gathering as much intel as he could. Sakura's ears perked up at the mention of the Uchiha member. We're not sure yet, it was night time there when the attack took place. All we know is that one of them was using a strange creature to fly, and he also used high-level explosives as his main attacks. Replied the Hokage. I thought you wouldn't let me take missions again before the end of the tests. Said Naruto. It's an emergency? You and Jiraiya are the only shinobi who have prior experience with Akatsuki. Team 8 will be the tracking team while Sakura will be the medic support. Started Tsunade. In fact, I've seen enough of your abilities this morning. You were already highly skilled in ninjutsu before you even left with the pervert. So with my power as the Hokage, Uzumaki Naruto, it is my pleasure to promote you to the rank of Jonin of Konoha. Finished Tsunade with a smile. Not to sound ungrateful, but are you sure the council will roll with that? I don't want to cause you any additional troubles, Naruto said with concern in his voice. He knew how the council was always trying to harm him one way or the other. Gigi could never completely protect him against them. He didn't want to have Tsunade deal with those imbeciles. You're 100 years too young to worry about me, brat. For your information, since I took the hat after Sensei retired, I fired all of the previous Elder Council. Since then, the Civilian Council had a lot less political power than in the past since they lost the support of the old fools. Sarutobi-sensei is the only member of the new Elder Council now. Replied Tsunade with a smirk. Very well. I suppose Ero-sennin is in charge then, and when do we leave? Asked Naruto. Yes, he is, and you leave in half an hour. Dismissed, said Tsunade as everyone started to leave her office. She had a really bad feeling about this mission and hoped nothing wrong happens to the team she just sent out. Wind Country borders. It had been 2 days since the Konoha team had left. They were about to cross the border over Wind Country. Naruto took this opportunity to catch up with everyone since he had been too busy to do it before now with the testing and all. He was pleased to learn that Hinata and Kiba were both Chunin rank. He still couldn't believe that Sakura started to train seriously and even became Tsunade's apprentice. Apparently, after Sasuke's betrayal and with him being gone for 3 years, Team 7 was dismantled and Shino was placed as his temporary replacement in Team 8. He also leaned about the other rookies. Everyone became Chunin except for Niji, who was already Jonin. He tried to speak with Temari to keep her from thinking too much about her missing brother. Kankuro and her were also Jonin, and of course Gaara was their Kazekage. She told him about the events that led her brother to change from an unstable killing machine to the highly respected leader of her village. It all started when they came back from the failed invasion of Konoha. After being debriefed by their council, it was revealed to everyone that it was thanks to Gaara's intervention that their alliance with Konoha was still holding. How he managed to prevent their troops from being slaughtered along with Odo, and then the discovery of the traitorous snake who fooled them into participating in that war by impersonating their previous Kage. At first, Gaara was lost and didn't know how to deal with all the praise he received. Then, he slowly but surely changed and opened up to more and more people. He even took a student and often put his life on the line to save the life of others during missions. After a while, everyone came to respect and like him. Being the strongest shinobi in their village and coming from the family of the previous leader, he was naturally chosen to become their new Kazekage. Her tale made Naruto smile. He was happy for his fellow Jinchuriki, though he wondered if the same thing could one day happen for him in Konoha. How many lives would he have to save? How many allies would he need to bring in before people acknowledged him for being something other than the demon reincarnated? How much more would he need to sacrifice before the village finally sees him for a human being and not a monster? For the benefit of the village, he still held his true lineage secret, fearing that IWA would try to invade them again if they learn about his ties to the Uzumaki and Namikaze households. Suna Rescue. The group finally made its way to Suna 1 day later. They were immediately directed to the hospital where Kankuro was currently being treated after his fight with one of the enemy. He was suffering from a case of severe poisoning and none of the local doctors were able to help him. It was apparently a new type of poison they never encountered before, and none of the antidotes they had seemed to work on slowing down the progress of the poison. Sakura proved that she was indeed the student of Tsunade when she took charge of his case and succeeded in curing him. She demonstrated some impressive healing skills and jutsu. She also quickly took command of every medical personnel that was present and worked with them in order to produce an antidote for Kankuro. She also made additional doses for the rest of the team, should they need it when facing the same opponent's poison again. When Kankuro recovered enough to speak, he gave them all the information they needed in order to rescue Gaara. Apparently one of the Akatsuki member was Akasuna no Sasori, ex-member of their village and expert in the art of puppetry. Kankuro provided them with a small piece of Sasori's puppet he was able to detach when they were fighting in the desert. Naruto promised him that he would bring Gaara back alive. They were about to leave when Temari was held back by the council. Her sensei Baki explained that the council would not allow her to leave for the rescue mission, and that she had to stay in the village to help increase the defenses in case of another country attacking them while their leader was down. This greatly angered the Suna princess. She was about to disobey when another person jumped in front of them. It was Chiyo, the retired puppet mistress of Suna. Sasori was her grandson, and she wanted to be the one to stop him. Seeing that Suna would also send someone powerful enough, Temari finally decided to stand down and stayed in the village as ordered. She could only look helplessly as the ninja from Konoha left Suna, with their tracking ninja following the trail Kankuro gave them in order to save her brother Gaara. River Country. The trail left by Kankuro led them directly into River Country. Naruto was glad to finally leave the desert. They were now jumping from tree to tree in a huge forest following the scent left behind by Sasori. Hinata suddenly stopped on a branch and signaled for everyone that they had company. She had activated her Byakugan as soon as they left the desert and entered the dense forest. Two huge chakra sources right in front of us. One of them has so much chakra it feels like looking at Naruto-kun, explained Hinata. They did not have to wait long as 2 minutes later two familiar faces appeared in front of them. Naruto and Jiraiya immediately recognized those faces, for in front of them now stood Hoshigaki Kisame and Uchiha Itachi. So we meet again, Naruto-kun, Jiraiya-sama, said Itachi in an emotionless voice. What's with the cool attitude? Not running away again today? Asked Naruto with a smirk. Still cocky as ever, Gaki, replied Kisame with a murderous look in his eyes. You seriously think you can defeat me with just you two against us all? Jiraiya joined them in their conversation. We will see, won't we? Replied Kisame as he took out his huge sword, ready to slice everything in his path. However, Jiraiya was not fooled by them and knew they were merely stalling, trying to delay them in their mission to save the Kazekage. So he formed a strategy and informed the others. We don't have time for this. Naruto will take care of Itachi while I go against Kisame. I want the rest of you to go ahead and locate their base, but do not engage them. Be careful. They may have set some traps along the way, ordered Jiraiya, getting nods from everyone as they ran past them. Kisame tried to stop them, but Jiraiya appeared in front of him instantly and delivered a powerful punch to his head, sending him backwards, nursing his jaw, then went after him. With Naruto, during the time Jiraiya went to stop Kisame, neither Naruto nor Itachi moved from their spot, still facing each other in silence. What was Jiraiya-sama thinking? Leaving you alone against me, said Itachi, strangely pointing his finger at Naruto. This was in fact his first move, as he called his jutsu in his mind, Utakata. It was a hypnotic attack that left his opponent at his mercy. By merely pointing his fingers at someone, he could direct this genjutsu against that person. It seemed to work, since his blonde opponent suddenly lost his focus and relaxed his arms, signaling that the jutsu most likely caught him. Itachi drew a kunai and ran towards his opponent, ready to incapacitate him. As he tried to pierce his target, the kunai went right through it. The Akatsuki operative's eyes widened, shocked to have been caught in what must have been a genjutsu, as the illusion in front of him slowly disappeared. Very impressive, Naruto-kun, he said stoically as he activated his Sharingan, not wanting to be deceived again. As his Jujutsu activated, he was extremely surprised to see chakra flowing everywhere around him. I always thought you would never be able to cast a genjutsu with your high chakra reserves, added Itachi, trying to fish for information out of the young man in front of him. I guess your file on me is outdated then, called Naruto as he came out from behind a tall tree, without his jacket and his katana in his hand. Itachi immediately launched a new jutsu as he confirmed with his Jujutsu that the Naruto in front of him was real. Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu, He expelled a huge fireball in Naruto's direction. The fireball ran its course perfectly in Naruto's direction, but the Uchiha prodigy had to frown as the jutsu hit what looked like an illusion again. He was sure the one in front of him was real. There was no way someone could hit him with a genjutsu while he had his Sharingan activated. He was pulled out of his thoughts by the sounds of footsteps coming from his right, but his eyes widened as he felt the blade of a katana suddenly piercing his body from the left. He turned his head to the left and saw a smirking Naruto holding his katana. Naruto thought he had succeeded, but Itachi suddenly smiled. All Naruto heard was, Bunshin Dai Bakuha. He cursed as he knew the blast would hit him point blank. Seeing no other choice, he called his next jutsu, Senpo. Ryu no Hata. There was a short flash. Then an explosion shook the entire area. When the dust settled down, Itachi went out of the woods where he had used a kawarimi to substitute himself with a log. He raised an eyebrow at what he saw. Near the center of the explosion stood Naruto unharmed. Two huge black wings spread around his body in a protective stance. Naruto cursed himself for underestimating his opponent's tactic. He had to reveal something he didn't want to be known just yet. Still hidden behind his dragon wings, he prepared his next move as he drew his katana in the direction of Itachi. Futon, Kaze Shinso, was all Itachi heard when he felt his heart explode. Slowly looking down, he only felt a gush of wind from where his heart used to be before he fell to the ground dead. From his original position, Naruto fully retracted his wings, revealing the same stance he had in his test against Yugao when he used his long-range wind spear jutsu. When he made his way to the down body of Itachi, he was surprised to see the face of a completely different man he never saw before. The man still wore the Akatsuki outfit just like the Itachi he fought just moments ago. Deciding to not lose more time than he could afford, he sealed the body in a scroll, then moved on after dispelling all his techniques. I have to catch up with the others. Hope the pervert is fine, said Naruto as he jumped in the direction the rest of the team took earlier. Chapter 22. Brethren. River Country, Unknown Cave. In a huge and dark cave stood a strange structure. It looked like the upper body of a humanoid form. Aside from the bust, a head and two hands could be clearly identified. The two hands were opened and had their palms facing up, in a beggar position. On each fingers but one stood the members of the Akatsuki organization. In the center of the cave was the floating body of the Kazekage, threads of chakra linking it to the statue. They're here, right in front of the cave entrance as we speak, announced a voice from the group. He had a strange complexion, and from the top of his body could be seen what looked like the mouth of a carnivorous plant. How many of them, Zetsu? Asked another voice. I saw 5 of them. They're from the same group with the toad and the Jinchuriki. The seal on the door will not hold them forever. Zetsu replied. We can't move from this spot until the sealing is done. Getomazo still needs 1 hour to absorb the essence of the Ichibi, said the unknown voice. It seems I failed in slowing down the invaders. Jiraiya saw right through our plan to stall them and gave orders for their group to split. I fought against Uzumaki Naruto while the Toad Sage himself went for Kisame, reported Itachi to his group as he came out of his meditation trance. What do you mean you failed? The Kyuubi Jinchuriki should have been an easy match for you. How could a mere Chunin defeat you? Replied the first voice. The data we have on him before he disappeared 3 years ago are greatly outdated. Even if I was not using my full force against him, he was able to quickly defeat me with unknown techniques. I don't think I even managed to injure him, said Itachi, greatly surprising the other people in the room. They were interrupted by the awakening form of Kisame, most likely done with his fight against Jiraiya too. Report Kisame, yelled the same voice. I failed to stop Jiraiya. Damn, that old man is crafty, snarled the ex-swordsman of the Hidden Mist Village, leaving the audience in the room hanging for his input on the Sannin. Flashback, 30 minutes ago. As Kisame recovered from the hit he just received from Jiraiya, the Toad Sage joined him. They faced each other in the middle of a clearing. Doton, Yomi Numa, yelled Jiraiya as he was the first to move. Kisame suddenly found himself sinking into the ground. As he looked down, he saw that a small swamp appeared out of nowhere at his feet, dragging him down in the process. While he was distracted, Jiraiya was already in front of him. Jiraiya leaped at him with a Rasengan already formed in his right hand, ready to finish him. Kisame instantly took out his sword Samahata and put it in front of him in opposition to the incoming Rasengan. The swirling chakra orb lost some of its power at the contact, much to Jiraiya's amazement. The recoil produced by the two clashing techniques allowed Kisame to get free from the swamp that Jiraiya created to stop his movements. The missing shinobi then took the opportunity to attack. He went through his own hand signs in preparation. Suetun, Dai Baku Sui Shuha, said Kisame as he expelled an enormous wave of water out of his mouth, completely submerging the area around them. Jiraiya simply jumped in the air and then stood on top of the water surface once the jutsu settled down. He couldn't relax though, since Kisame wasn't finished and was going through hand signs again for another jutsu. Suiro se Modori no jutsu, Kisame said. As he completed his technique, all the water around them gathered in one point, taking the form of a gigantic water bubble. Trapped them both inside. The strange technique also allowed Kisame to fusion with his sword. The result was a grotesque hybrid form between a shark and a man. Jiraiya stood in his spot inside the giant water prison, not moving, with his eyes closed, holding his breath in order to not suffocate. He had two small frogs on both his shoulders, which Kisame never saw him summon. As Kisame in his hybrid form swam close to Jiraiya to finish him off, the toad hermit suddenly opened his eyes. Kisame could see a strange transformation on the Gamma Sennin. His eyes looked weird and his nose was somehow bigger. Not wanting to wait, Kisame went to attack the still unmoving toad sage. As he was close to his target, he was surprised when his fist was suddenly caught by his enemy. The strength displayed by the Sennin was no laughing matter either, as he couldn't even remove his fist from Jiraiya's solid grip. Then the strangest thing happened. Kisame felt a chakra source escaping from Jiraiya and entering his own body, resulting from him merging with Samahata. However, as he continued to absorb Jiraiya's chakra, he started to feel weird. Then seconds later, his hands slowly turned into stone, his whole body soon following the same process. The last thing Kisame saw was the grinning face of the toad sage and him calling his next jutsu, Senpo? Cho Udama Rasengan. Then all went black. End of flashback. And that's it. All I know is that he was somehow able to use a jutsu to transform my body into stone, Kisame said as he finished his report to the group. I see, that's most troubling. Itachi, finish your report. How did the Jinchuriki defeat you? Ordered the apparent leader's voice. Then Itachi did the same as Kisame and gave a summary of his fight against Naruto to the group. Well, at least we know a bit more about him than what we could learn from Kisame about Jiraiya. Uzumaki Naruto has very powerful Genjutsu skills, on par or even better than the perception of the Sharingan. He uses a wind-type sword and has reached the Sennin level of the Dragon Clan. Analyzed the leader. Both of them are strong enough to easily defeat the underpowered shadows of Itachi and Kisame. We will not engage them again until we have more intelligence on either of them. However, I have a plan to draw out more of the Jinchuriki hidden skills, so we may know more about him the next time any of us has to face him. They're back. It seems they took care of the external seals too. Jiraiya and the Jinchuriki are coming too, interrupted Zetsu. Damn, we don't have enough time to complete the sealing. I don't want them to see the Geto Mazo. We can't risk them destroying it. No choice. Dispel the technique and sever your connection. Deidara and Sasori, try to take the Kazekage with you but escape without it if you can't. Ordered the leader. Every figure stopped channeling chakra to the statue. With the jutsu incomplete, the mass of chakra accumulated dispersed and went back to Gaara, who screamed in pain. Then slowly, one by one, the members disappeared into the shadows, leaving the two who were the only ones physically inside the cave. The statue also dispelled, leaving the body of the still unmoving but alive Gaara on the ground. Outside the cave, 15 minutes ago, Kurenai, Chiyo, Sakura, Hinata and Kiba were in front of an enormous boulder blocking their path towards what looked like a huge cave. Are you sure Gaara is inside Kiba? Asked Kurenai. Yes, sensei. I can smell his scent as well as the one from the Akatsuki member we were provided with by Kankuro just behind this stone wall, replied the Inuzuka. He's right, sensei. I can also see him with my Dujitsu. It's really dark, so I can't see who else is inside, but he's the closest to the entrance. He's floating mid-air and he seems in pain but alive, reported Hinata with her Dujitsu activated. Then let's go. I'm sure Akamaru and I can easily destroy that huge rock, said Kiba, preparing a jutsu with his dog. Wait, you won't break it so easily. There's a seal protecting it, said Chio. What type of seal? Asked Kurenai. It's a Gofu Kekai. In order to break it, we need to destroy the 4 other seals placed all around the cave that protects it, answered the old Kunoichi. Hinata gave them the location of the protection seals. Then they all left to disable them except for Chio, who stayed in front of the cave. It took them 15 minutes to get rid of all the seals, then they all returned to the cave entrance. Present time. As the scouting group made it back to the cave entrance, they met Naruto and Jiraiya, who also finished their opponents. They quickly explained the situation, then prepared themselves to invade the cave. Naruto immediately activated the first level of his bloodline, the Muga no Kyuchi. Nachan, are you sure you can still feel his chakra behind this rock? Naruto asked Natsuki, worried about Gaara. Yes, I can still feel the Ichibi. He seems extremely weak though. Whatever is inside this cave was strong enough to hurt him that much. Be very careful, Narukuin, replied the vixen. You know I'm never going to betray a promise I made. I'm not going to die here. There are still so many things left for me to do in this world. He replied, just be careful and stay focused, Natsuki said with worry in her voice for her chosen mate. Naruto then activated his Yuki storage seal and felt his chakra reserve rise to their max again. Finally, he took out his katana. Sakura was the one tasked to take out the giant rock, so she charged her jutsu and ran towards her target. "Oh, Kasho!" yelled the Kunoichi before her fist impacted the giant boulder. The effect was immediate as the rock was completely destroyed and collapsed. Inside the cave laid the body of Gaara. In front of him were the 2 members of Akatsuki who attacked Suna. The smaller one was identified as Sasori since the tail of his puppet was clearly seen behind his back. The other one was identified by Jiraiya, who remembered him from the bingo book as Deidara the Mad Bomber, missing ninja of IWA. Naruto will create an opening, then Kurenai, Hinata, and Kiba will escort the Kazekage back to Suna. Sakura and Chio-san will fight Sasori since she knows him best, being his grandmother, and Sakura has a cure to his poison attacks. Finally, Naruto and I will deal with the blonde one, ordered Jiraiya as they all nodded and went there to execute their missions. Futon, Kaze Shinso, Naruto called before his wind spear suddenly extended and went right between Sasori and Deidara. The 2 experienced shinobi were able to evade the slash but failed to stop Kurenai and her 2 students, who immediately took the chance to get the body of Gaara from them. They could only curse as they saw the retreating forms of Team 8 minus Naruto taking off towards Suna with their target. Naruto was relieved. Gaara was safe. He was able to save one of his brethren. Looks like we lost the target, said Deidara. Shut up. Don't you see we got bigger problems right now? Growled Sasori as he not only saw the 2 men their leader told them to avoid at all cost, but Chio, his grandmother and puppet mistress of Suna, was also there. Well then, I'll see you later. Katsu, Deidara suddenly said as he formed a ram seal. There was a sudden explosion inside the cave, and taking advantage of the confusion, Deidara was able to escape from the cave, riding on top of a strange-looking bird. That's our target, Naruto, yelled Jiraiya as the 2 also left the cave and ran after Deidara, with Chio and Sakura. Thanks to that idiot bomber, the chances of getting out of this mess alive just increased exponentially, thought Sasori, looking at the 2 remaining people in front of him. I'm hurt. They think so little of me they would pit me against an old lady and a little girl, taunted Sasori. Both Kunoichi stayed silent and prepared themselves to fight the puppet master of Akatsuki. Sakura managed to surprise the puppeteer with her superior taijutsu and her strength, destroying his main puppet. However, he then summoned a legion of new puppets, and she was quickly overwhelmed by their sheer number. Chio took charge and used chakra threads to take possession of Sakura's body like a puppet and then managed to pull through. In the end, it came down to Chio summoning her own private elite army of puppets against the army of her grandson, with Sakura giving the last blow. With his last breath, Sasori told them a strange secret about an old partner of his inside Akatsuki and a meeting they scheduled in 2 weeks from now, with Jiraiya and Naruto. Jiraiya and Naruto were jumping from tree to tree following Deidara. Damn, he's getting further away. We won't be able to catch him at this rate, said Jiraiya. Naruto suddenly stopped on a tree, then went through hand signs for a jutsu ninpo, Kuchios no Jutsu, then continued his pursuit on top of Hiryu, his fire dragon. The dragon was a lot more faster than whatever creature Deidara was riding on. Preparing for his next move, Naruto drew more chakra from the fox storage and conversion seal. Naruto was soon in striking range and took position to use his technique. Futon. Kamishini no Yari, he called as he was in the basic stance he used when performing his divine wind spear technique with his katana. Deidara never saw it coming. The Akatsuki member felt a strong gush of wind to his left before a blinding pain took over and he finally saw he was missing his entire left arm. He was bleeding profusely and had trouble to keep the balance to stay on top of his creature. To Jiraiya, who was still following them on the ground, it was even more impressive. After seeing Naruto take off on top of his dragon, he saw his disciple position himself right behind the fugitive. There was a distance of several kilometers between them, but Naruto still used his wind spear technique. The speed of the cut had to be very high, judging by the fact that Naruto's blade only blinked for a second before he saw the impact on Deidara's arm. Seeing no possible escape from such a jutsu in his current condition and not wanting to take more risks, Deidara decided to try his chance on the ground inside the thick forest area below him. He took a rapid dive with his bird, then dispelled it and tried to mask his presence inside the forest. Naruto was flying in circles around the last seen position of Deidara and Jiraiya soon joined him. With neither of them being good sensors nor trackers, Jiraiya decided to go for the more direct approach and went through his own hand signs. Naruto, get ready. I'll flush him out, said Jiraiya, receiving a nod from his student. Doton, Yomi Numa, he yelled as the ground began to sink in a very wide area. Deidara cursed seeing the ground disappearing into the giant swamp, but decided to stay a little longer inside the tall tree he was hiding in. Seeing no result, Jiraiya then continued his plan. Ninpo, Kuchios no Jutsu. He was now on top of Gamabunta, the toad boss. Give me a large quantity of oil bunta, he said to his giant summon. Gamabunta patted his huge belly, then did as ordered and spat a huge pressurized spray of oil in front of him. Katan, Gameuenden, roared Jiraiya as the whole forest in front of him was mercilessly lit on fire. Seeing the ground slowly disappearing and the fire rapidly eating away the tree from above, Deidara had no choice this time but to move out of his hiding place. Unfortunately for him, the moment he left the tree, he experienced the same pain he felt earlier as Naruto used his death spear technique again, this time taking the right arm away. Deidara managed to drag himself to a safe zone, out of Jiraiya's swamp or fire jutsu. The moment of peace did not last, however, as he was joined a second later by both Naruto and Jiraiya. Seeing his opponent's state, missing both arms, Naruto dispelled his dragon and made his way towards the Akatsuki member. Surrender, it's over, said Naruto with no emotion. You think it's over, Deidara said before adding, I'll show you my greatest creation and why art is a bang. The body of the mad bomber then began to rapidly shift, swelling from the inside. Jiraiya's eyes widened, understanding what was happening. Then in a flash, everything went blank. Naruto only felt something wet coil around him before the sound of the explosion reached him. After the explosion died down, Naruto found himself in a dark place. He tried to take a few steps and used his hands in front of him to guide him. The ground suddenly shifted and forcefully lifted him up, then the place became less dark. Naruto's eyes widened as he understood where he was, as Gamabunta spat him out of his mouth. An angered Naruto covered by toad spit slowly stood up before he heard the voice of his master. How many times did I tell you to never underestimate your opponent, Naruto? Jiraiya said seriously, though he had a smirk on his face. Naruto snarled at his master but understood that he was just saved from certain death. Thanks for the save, Erosenin, he said. All right, let's go back to the cave, said Jiraiya as they both went back. On their way to the cave, Jiraiya saw Naruto smiling and asked him about it. I'm just happy for Gaara and I kept my promise to bring him back alive, said the blonde, thinking about his brethren. Chapter 23, Seals. Suna Hospital. Today was a hot day again in Suna. Nurses and doctors were running around the corridors of the hospital. The reason for this sudden rise in tension inside the building was simple. On the last floor and heavily guarded was the room of Sabaku no Gaara, the Kazekage. It had been half a day since the rescue mission led by Konoha ended. fortunately in success. Team 8, under the command of Jonin Yuhi Kurinai, was the first to return. Running across the desert with the Kazekage on top of a huge dog, and the 3 team members in a triangular formation around him. They were immediately escorted to the hospital. Emergency rooms had been made ready for any wounded that would need medical treatment. Fear, anxiety, but also relief and joy could be read on the faces of the Suna shinobi as they saw their leader back and alive. Gaara still suffered numerous wounds from his battle against the Akatsuki member who kidnapped him. Furthermore, he had a severe case of chakra exhaustion. In addition to all this, he also showed signs of malnutrition as he most likely did not have anything to eat or drink during his captivity. Anyway, it was a miracle that those were the only things he had to deal with considering what he just went through. A good rest was everything he needed right now in order to get better. Village gates. Security was still in a high alert state since the kidnapping happened even after the Kazekage was rescued. As a consequence, the number of gate guards and the patrols were doubled until further notice. Suna did not possess the same detection field barrier that Konoha had. The village defense system consisted in its high and thick walls, with sentinels posted all over the perimeter at all time. It was now the end of the afternoon. The members for the night shift were about to take their post when a Chunin saw some activity. Slowly making their way back to the village, Naruto and the rest of the rescue mission members appeared at the horizon on top of a huge dragon. The creature landed near the village entrance and let its passengers off. "Thanks for the lift, Suzaku. I didn't have the courage nor the strength to cross the desert again after that fight," said Naruto as he dismissed his transport dragon. "Anytime, Naruto-sama," replied the summon before dispelling itself. "Welcome back," Baki said as he joined the guards at the gates. "I trust that the other team safely came back with the Kazekage," asked Jiraiya. "Yes. Thank you so much for your assistance. Please follow me. I will guide you to him and your friends," replied Baki. Hospital, Gaara's room. After letting Chio and Sakura examine Gaara to confirm that he was fine, people made room for Jiraiya and Naruto to check his Jinchuriki seal. "What do you think, Ero Sennin?" asked Naruto after they both took a look at the seal. "Whatever they did to him in that cave has tampered with his old seal. Unless we do something about it, the bijou will extend its domination over him even more when he wakes up," replied Jiraiya, receiving a nod from his blonde disciple. "What do you think, Nachan?" Naruto asked the vixen. Ichibi was left mentally unstable after a fight he had with the Hachibi a long time ago. "I'm not pleased at the prospect of silencing one of us permanently, but for the good of the host it is the best solution," replied Natsuki. "I promised Gaara we would look at his seal and maybe find a way to make life easier for him. So instead of restoring it to its original state, I want to strengthen it," Naruto announced as the Suna shinobi in the room were speechless. "You can really do that? You would even upgrade his seal? Why?" asked Chio in a surprised and shameful tone, as she was the one who performed the original sealing ritual on Gaara. "Yes, I would. He is one of the few who knows what I've been through because he has practically lived the same life I did. Furthermore, he saved Konoha in the past when he told us about Orochimaru. That's the least we could do," Naruto said with conviction while the people in the room had different reactions to his speech. The rookies from Konoha were all aware now of Naruto's burden. They, however, never thought that his life was so bad. Hinata and Kiba put their hands on Naruto's shoulders while Sakura looked down in shame, remembering all the things she said to him in their childhood. "I can guarantee Naruto's skills in Fuinjutsu. I taught him and he has Uzumaki blood running through his veins. I will let him perform the sealing and only supervise," said Jiraiya to support his student. After getting the approval of Gaara's family, Naruto and Jiraiya asked everyone to leave the room and started the preparations for the ritual. Chio was allowed to stay to make sure everything was in order since neither Jiraiya nor Naruto were Suna shinobi. 1 hour later, the 3 left the room and allowed family only to visit their Kazekage. Chio confirmed that everything went well. The seal was now operational and had been upgraded in order to completely cut off the influence of the Ichibi over Gaara. The Kazekage would now be able to enjoy, as everyone else, the pleasure of a good night of sleep. The Konoha ninja decided they would stay for another week in Suna, in the event of unwanted after effects of the new seal on Gaara. They were escorted to a hotel by Baki and all went to sleep after that. River Country, place of the battle. The previously identified Akatsuki member Zetsu was going through the remains of the battle that took place earlier. He was with another unidentified person, wearing an odd orange mask. Both were looking for something inside the cave where Sakura and Chio fought against Sasori. After some time, they finally found what they were looking for. It was the ring that each Akatsuki members seemed to wear, and they just found Sasori's. When they made their way to the place where Deidara died, they easily found the detached arm of Deidara. They were about to take it off the ground when they were interrupted by Deidara himself. Apparently the jutsu he used to detonate himself was just a decoy. He performed a substitution just before activating the suicide technique. Taking back his arm, Deidara then left with the other two. Hotel Naruto's room. After a good night of sleep, Naruto felt rejuvenated. The events of yesterday were still fresh on his mind, though. He knew that he was still too weak to take on Akatsuki alone. Itachi managed to surprise him inside his wind dome. Then, in the fight with Deidara, he would have died without the intervention of his sensei Jiraiya. There had to be more shinobi out there, of that level or even stronger, that were after Natsuki, and that thought terrified him. He vowed to train harder and study more in order to achieve his goals. Sensing Naruto's turmoil, Natsuki decided to speak. "I know you're worried about me, Narukuin, but I don't want you to kill yourself over it," started the vixen. "You were there too yesterday. If I don't get stronger, they will take you away from me. I will not allow that," replied Naruto. "How about your friends and sensei? What about your dreams of becoming Hokage? You must think about them too before you rush into anything," asked Natsuki. "I know they are strong, but I can't let them risk their life each time Akatsuki is out for me," Naruto said. "I'm not making enough progress with the seal. As of now, I can only safely use 5 tails worth of your Yuki. Each time I activate the Muga no Kyuchi, it already saps 1 tail away. This only grants me access to one of the higher level of my bloodline after that, seeing as each upgrade uses 4 tails of power," analyzed Naruto. "I just can't understand why the converter seal won't absorb more," finished Naruto. "The seal your father placed on you is powerful. Maybe it was not made to be used that way, or something else is blocking you," supplied Natsuki with her limited knowledge on the sealing arts. "The only ones who know more about the Shiki Fujin are the Sandaime and Jiraiya. Maybe you should ask one of them about it," she added after that. "Gigi would never let me experiment on my father's seal, and I'm not too sure about Erosenin. I guess I'll have to find a way to ask him more about it," mused Naruto. "That's also the only way to find a solution to get you out of there without killing me in the process too. I know we have lots of fun together inside and all, but I want more for us. I want to hold you in my arms in the real world, like a real family," Naruto said with sadness in his voice. Natsuki knew that family was a sensible subject for Naruto. She never bothered with human emotions before she was sealed inside him. Even inside her 2 previous hosts, their interactions were minimal. She never developed the feelings of love nor loneliness before she was placed inside Naruto, all thanks to the particular seal that currently caused them so much troubles. "You don't need to rush it, Narukuin. Your enemies won't be so hasty to attack now that they lost 2 of their members," Natsuki finally said. "I guess you're right. We'll talk more later, Nachan. I have to go see how Gaara is doing," said Naruto as he went to prepare himself for the day. Hospital, Gaara's room. As Naruto was granted access to Gaara's room, he saw that the Kazekage had no visitor currently. It was still early in the morning, so he guessed everyone was still sleeping. He went to inspect the modifications he made to Gaara's seal. Nothing seemed out of place. Seeing the Kazekage still asleep, he was about to leave the room when he felt a sudden spike of chakra. Looking back, he saw the reed head slowly opening his eyes and moving in his bed. "Hey Gaara, how are you doing?" asked Naruto. "Naruto? What's going on?" I don't remember," were the confused questions of Gaara. "Slow down a little, you're safe now. I'll tell you everything," Naruto replied calmly. Then Naruto told him everything. From the moment they left Konoha with his sister 5 days ago to when he repaired and fortified his Jinchuriki seal yesterday during the night, Gaara was stunned to learn about everything that happened after his kidnapping. Then he suddenly got up and looked around the room. "Is everything all right?" asked a worried Naruto at the sudden reaction. "I can't hear it, the voice, it stopped. It finally stopped. Never a day in my life did I not lay awake at night, as I was forced to listen to that voice. And now it's gone, Gaara said. It's a good thing, right? Asked Naruto. I will never be able to repay you and your people for your kindness. Ask for anything, and if it is within my power, I will see it done. Gaara replied with a serious tone. I'll settle down for a simple IOU from the Kazekage. I may need it one day when I become the Hokage. Naruto said, smiling. Gaara simply nodded. He knew the blonde would not accept anything. Their conversation was interrupted by the entrance of a doctor, coming in for Gaara's checkup. Naruto then left the room to let the medical staff do its job. Suna village gates. The week passed quite quickly. No visible signs of malfunction from the new seal were found. Gaara left the hospital one day after waking up, though he still stayed in his mansion during that time, letting Temari run the village for him. It was finally time for the Konoha group to go home. Everyone was ready. A large number of ninja and civilians were at the gates to say goodbye to them. Among them were Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro, of course. After an awkward goodbye and handshake between Naruto and Gaara, where the redhead gave the blonde a piece of paper with the letters IOU on it, the Konoha ninja finally departed. Konoha Hokage office. Tsunade was enjoying a calm afternoon in her office. No paperwork and no council meeting scheduled for today. Everything was good. She received a message from Suna a week ago, relaying the news of success from the team she sent there to rescue the Kazekage. She was relieved to learn that their side suffered no casualties while 2 Akatsuki members were taken down. Suddenly the door to her office opened, Shizune running in with a worried expression on her face. She was panting and had to take some time to catch her breath. What the hell is going, Shizune? Asked Tsunade. Tsunade-sama. It's terrible. You have to take a look at this, replied her assistant holding a peculiar handbook. Tsunade's eyes then focused on the book and she saw it was a bingo book. What's so important about the bingo book, Shizune? Asked the blonde. It's about Naruto-kun. Look at his profile. Shizune almost yelled. Tsunade opened the book and went to see Naruto's profile. She remembered him being on the watch list of the A-rank section. Her eyes frowned for a second when she didn't find it. What's the meaning of this? I don't see it. Why did they suddenly remove his profile? Asked a curious Tsunade. They didn't. Please look at the next section of the book, replied the brunette. Tsunade's eyes widened, understanding what her disciple just said, and then opened the book again. She dropped it seconds later, having finally found what caused Shizune to panic like that. The book was still opened at the right page on her desk. It read, Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Nickname, Konoha's Kaze no Kami. Age, 16. Rank, F. Status, Jonin. Attributes, Kenjutsu, S. Ninjutsu, A. Genjutsu, S. And Fuinjutsu, B. Affinities, Wind. Bloodline, unknown. Description, has a very high affinity to the wind element. Sage of the mythical dragon summoning contract. Casts unbreakable genjutsu. Defeated A-rank Kiri Nuknin Momochi Zabuza the Kirigakure no Kijin as a genin. Defeated Sabaku no Gaara the Sunazachibi Jinchuriki as a genin. Defeated S-rank Konoha Nuknin Uchiha Itachi the Sharingan prodigy. Defeated S-rank Iwa Nuknin Deidara the Mad Bomber. Action. Kill on sight. Bounty 100 million Ryo in Iwa. Aim and Kiri. Impossible. How did it spread so fast? Said a shocked Tsunade. Her precious day of peace had just ended. Unknown place. In a dark place stood 2 shadows, talking to each other. The book is out. It has been done as you asked, Leader-sama, said the first. Very well, Zetsu, replied the leader. Why did you leak those information about the Kyuubi? Asked Zetsu. This way, and with such a bounty on his head, hunters are bound to try to take him down, replied the leader. And why is it good for us? I thought we wanted them alive, said Zetsu. It is good because we know none of them will succeed. If he is strong enough to take down S-rank's members like Itachi or Deidara, then he won't die so easily. Even if we both know that he didn't actually kill those 2, then the next time we see him, he would have already revealed a lot more of what he can do. Information is often the key to success, explained the leader. I understand now, so that's what you had in store for him, said Zetsu as they both disappeared in the darkness. Chapter 24, Homecoming. Konoha main gates. It took Naruto's group 3 days to reach Konoha from the moment they left Suna. They did not meet any difficulties during their trip back, deciding to only take minimal short breaks, since all were eager to get home. They were greeted by the eternal Chunin combo at their arrival, namely Kotetsu and Izumo. Upon verification that everything was in order, they were told that Tsunade was waiting for them in her office immediately. Jiraiya felt that something wrong must have happened. He had made sure to send Tsunade a preliminary report on their mission as soon as they brought Gaara back to his village. Therefore, having Tsunade impatiently waiting for them could only mean one thing. Something important must have happened after he sent her the first report. The group lost no more time than needed and all used Shunshin to reach the Hokage Tower. Hokage office. Tsunade was going through paperwork since this morning. It helped her to focus on something else than her last relative's situation. To her, Naruto was still going back from his mission to Suna, but he didn't know about the last developments on his profile in the bingo book. She feared that, with such a high bounty on his head, the most skilled hunter Nines would try to get him before she had the chance to warn him. They were already well on their way back to the Leaf when she received the news. Naruto's group arrived in front of Tsunade's office. Shizune stood up from her desk, then let them in immediately, knowing how anxious her master had been about this whole thing. Opening the door, Naruto and Jiraiya were prepared to see a sleeping Tsunade with some opened bottles of sake. They were surprised, however, to see her working and sober. "Naruto, you're finally back. I was so worried, you idiot," yelled the blonde Hokage as she jumped up from her seat, not even noticing the other people inside her office. "We're fine too, Haim," said a smirking Jiraiya as Tsunade finally composed herself. She cleared her throat, then calmly sat down. "Good work, everyone. I will take the time to read all your reports once you submit them. Now you're all dismissed except for Naruto and Jiraiya," announced Tsunade. Kurenai, Hinata, Sakura and Kiba bowed their head to their leader, nodded to Naruto and Jiraiya, then all left to go back to their respective homes. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Shizune and Naruto were the only people left in the Hokage office. Tsunade quickly sealed the room, then looked at Naruto. "What's going on, Tsunade?" asked a curious Jiraiya. "Show them the book, Shizune," said Tsunade as her disciple took a book on her desk and put it in front of them. "What's with the bingo book? I already know that I have an entry in it. Apparently IWA is still mad at us about the ass-whopping my father gave them in the last great ninja war," Naruto said, recognizing the book in front of him. Putting 2 and 2 together, Jiraiya understood why Tsunade looked so worried and decided to see for himself. He opened the book to the A-ranked shinobi section, frowned, then continued to the next section. Once he found his student's profile, he slowly put the book back in front of Naruto. "Look again, Naruto. They updated your profile with the latest data," Jiraiya said with a heavy sigh. Naruto did as instructed. His eyes widened when he saw his updated file. It had almost everything right about his current skills. However, the most important part was his new ranking status. He was now considered as a S-rank shinobi. Furthermore, not only IWA but also AIM and Kiri wanted him dead now. "How is that even possible? There are things mentioned in my file that happened not even a week ago," asked a worried and confused Naruto. "I was wondering about the same thing, actually," added Tsunade. "It's quite simple, really, if you take the time to think about it," said Jiraiya. "How is that so, Ero-senin?" asked Naruto nervously, not understanding what his master was talking about. "The only people who knew about those events besides us are Suna and Akatsuki," replied Jiraiya. "Suna wouldn't leak out info on me. I'm pretty sure Gaara would see to that," said Naruto with conviction, believing that his fellow Jinchuriki friend would never betray him. Then, that only leave on possibility Akatsuki did it. Why would they broadcast their loss to us and therefore increase the competition in getting Naruto-kun though? This came from Shizune this time. "Information gathering. They want to force our hand, or more precisely Naruto's," said Tsunade, finally getting it. "Exactly. The more high-level enemies Naruto has to fight, the more data about him will be revealed to them. They have the confidence that Naruto won't die. It's probably because he already beat some of them," confirmed the spy master of Konoha. "What will I do now? I was never a popular guy in Konoha, you know," With such a bounty, even I would be tempted to sell myself to one of those villages that want my head," said a dejected Naruto. "I think I have a solution for you. Leave it to me. Just be here in 1 hour. I will call for an emergency council meeting. This will probably solve your problem inside Konoha," Tsunade said, getting a nod from the younger blonde. "There's one thing I don't get though. I can understand for IWA, but why do Kiri and AIM want my head too?" mused Naruto out loud. "AIM has always been at odds with us, Naruto. It was their leader, Hanzo the Salamander, that gave us the title of Sannin when we fought against him in the last great ninja war. We don't know much about that country, even today, so it wouldn't surprise me that they still resent us. Taking out one of our most promising shinobi must be their goal," said Jiraiya. "Kiri is a little different though. It's not really Konoha they fear, but you, or more specifically your name. The Uzumaki clan, as you know, is in fact from Uzushigakure. Kiri was one of the countries that plotted the destruction of the land of our ancestors, Naruto. My grandmother, Uzumaki Mito, used to tell me stories of her homeland. The Fuinjutsu of the Uzumaki clan were greatly feared, especially by their close neighbor Kiri," supplied Tsunade. "I see. For the time being, it would be best for me to avoid those countries, at least until we get more information about them," Naruto said, getting nods from both Jiraiya and Tsunade. "I'll see what I can do with my spy network. We need to gather more accurate info on them. Kiri is supposedly in a civil war between the Bloodline's Holder side and the Mizukage faction led by Yagura. However, AIM is a very secretive country. I may have to infiltrate it myself," said Jiraiya. "Now listen to what I have in mind for the council meeting later today." Tsunade explained her plan to Naruto. She then dispelled her room sealing jutsu and called an ANBU team to go gather every member for the upcoming council meeting. Council meeting room. Every member of the council was present in the meeting room. As usual, the room was divided in 3 sides. The shinobi, elder, and civilian sides were all seated in their designated area. Tsunade was in her Hokage seat higher than everyone else, with Shizune standing right behind her. Naruto stood outside the room with Jiraiya at his side. The ANBU guarding the room closed the doors, signaling the start of the meeting. "Before we start, I will establish some special rules for this meeting," announced Tsunade. "Sensitive information will be disclosed during this meeting. None of you will interrupt me until you are given the right to speak. Should any of you disregard this simple rule, you will be removed from the room for the remaining of the meeting, regardless of your clan or status. Is that clear?" Tsunade said, daring anyone to protest against her rule. The room stayed silent. People knew that Tsunade had quite a temper, and unlike Sarutobi, she would not hesitate to go through with her threats. "Very well, the meeting shall start then. We are gathered in this room today to discuss the status of one of Konoha's most powerful clan, the Namikaze," declared Tsunade. The Namikaze were one of the first shinobi families to have joined Konoha after its founding. They produced many powerful shinobi and kunoichi in the past, our late Yondaime Hokage being the most striking example. However, during the last Great War, they lost all of their members except for the one who put an end to the war itself, Namikaze Minato. She reminded everyone. Now, with no official successor and as a standard procedure, all the funds and possessions of the Namikaze family have been frozen for the last 16 years. According to the law, if no official successor has claimed this inheritance before 18 years have passed, then the Hokage has the authority to seize it and everything become the village's property. Continued the Hokage. "We are here to discuss about this inheritance before the deadline is over," finished Tsunade before nodding to Danzo, who stood up from his seat on the civilian side. "I think it should be equally distributed among the civilian side," started the old manipulator before Tsunade cut him. "It won't be necessary. The ninja clans can also forget about the Namikaze scrolls that were sealed in the Hokage vault," Tsunade said. "What gives you the authority to decide such things, Tsunade? Last time I checked, even the Hokage wasn't above the laws that were signed by both the Shodaime and the Fire Lord," replied the old war hawk, with blatant disrespect in his tone and a smug look on his face. "The old fool is at it again. She may have fired Hamura and Koharu, but Danzo managed to stay by the civilian side. Let's see how she deals with him," thought Sarutobi as he looked at his student. You can cut the crap with your empty threats, and even then the Fire Lord won't be of any use to you in this case. Anamike's heir has been identified. Now sit down if you don't have anything else relevant to say. Tsunade said as she sent him a glare, defying him to protest. Danzo smartly sat down, without showing any expression on his face. However, inside he was fuming with rage. He had planned for a long time to secretly seize the Namike's inheritance for himself, hoping that everyone would forget about it. Hyuga Hayashi stood up and Tsunade gave him a nod. Could you tell us more about this successor you've identified for the Namike's clan? Hokage-sama? Asked Hayashi. Of course, that's the reason I called this meeting anyway. The Namike's heir has been among us since the beginning actually. He is of course one of our most powerful shinobi and has the rank of Jonin. Tsunade replied with a smirk. He has been summoned today in order for you all to meet him. He is behind those doors right now as we are speaking. Tsunade added before giving a nod to the ANBU guarding the doors. As the doors opened, 2 sets of footsteps could be heard from the people in the meeting room. As the 2 mysterious shinobi finally reached the meeting room, people's eyes widened, realizing who they were. Naruto sat in the middle of the room. Jiraiya chose to stay behind him. Impossible! It can't be. There is no way that demo started one of the civilian council member before his head exploded in a shower of blood, his headless core falling to the ground. Until proven otherwise, the law about my Jinchuriki status is still in effect. It is perfectly within my right to punish anyone who doesn't follow that law, announced Naruto as he put his sword away. Do you have any proof that this boy is the Namike's heir? Tsunade? Said Danzo as he didn't even wait for Tsunade to give him the authorization to speak. She does, and you better know your place when addressing her civilian, started Naruto, putting a big emphasis on the last word. As he flicked his sword his hand. You will address her as Hokage-sama during the meeting or I will remove you myself from the room for insubordination. Naruto continued. Danzo had no choice but to stand down after apologizing to Tsunade, knowing full well that Tsunade was in her right to remove him from the room, if she wanted to. This made every member of the Shinobi Council smirk, as well as Tsunade, Sarutobi, and Jiraiya. As I was about to say, I have here Naruto's birth certificate, his blood test exam, and finally, Sarutobi-sensei here can also testify that Naruto is indeed who I say he is. Tsunade said, getting a nod from her old teacher. Naruto-kun was supposed to know about his lineage when he reached the age of 18 or the rank of Jonin. Minato also wished for him to live his life without having to fear the scorn of IWA or any of the other numerous enemies he made during his shinobi career, be it outside the village or not. Sarutobi supplied, giving a glare to his old rival Danzo. He then turned to Naruto, took a scroll out of his robe and then gave it to Naruto. However, before he did, everyone could see that the scroll indeed had the famous seal of the Yondaime Hokage. This, Naruto, is your father's will. It is protected by a blood seal that your father placed in order for it to not fall into the wrong hands. Only someone carrying his blood can open it, Sarutobi said as he handed him the scroll. Biting his thumb, Naruto spread some of his blood over the seal that glowed for a second before disappearing. Naruto then read the letter, tears forming in his eyes, then gave it back to Sarutobi. Scanning quickly its content, Sarutobi in turn decided to read the letter, out loud this time for everyone. In the letter, Minato gave everything to his son Naruto: family funds, bank accounts, lands, and the compound. It confirmed the previous statements. Naruto would get all of this once he becomes a Jonin or at age 18. Sarutobi then handed the letter to Tsunade. Very well, I, Senju Tsunade, hereby validate the content of this will. With my power as Hokage of Konoha, I am pleased to announce the homecoming of the Namikaze clan back in our village and the nomination of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze as its clan head. Tsunade announced. No one dared to protest against the ascension of Naruto to the clan head position. There were solid and material proofs that he was indeed the son of Namikaze Minato. The meeting soon ended after that. Hokage office. Naruto and Tsunade were back at her office. Jiraiya said he was going to start information gathering, then left abruptly, and finally Shizen went to take her shift at the hospital. So now that you are officially the new clan head of the Namikaze clan, we can safely assume that attacking you inside the village will become much more difficult. The Namikaze compound is heavily protected with seals, so you should be safe inside its walls," said Tsunade. "All right, thanks Bachan. That solves my problem inside Konoha," said Naruto with a smile. "What happened to Hokage-sama and respect, you damn brat?" replied Tsunade. "You know I'll never disrespect you in an official meeting. Nevertheless, you just officially acknowledge me as your distant relative during that meeting, so it is also within my right to call you by that name, you know." Naruto smirked as he told her. Rice Country, unknown location. In a dark place, Orochimaru and Kabuto were discovering the newly edited version of the International Bingo book. They were interrupted by the arrival of a third person. Uchiha Sasuke joined them and Orochimaru tossed him the book. His Sharingan flared in anger as he read the profile of Naruto in the book. The line about Naruto defeating his brother Itachi made his blood boil. He dropped the book to the ground and was about to leave the room when Orochimaru called him. "Where do you think you are going like that, Sasuke-kun?" asked the snake. "I'm going to teach that fool a lesson," roared the Avenger. "Everything in good time. Kabuto is going to meet someone in a very powerful organization next week. Their goal is to capture every Jinchuriki as Naruto-kun, and your brother was one of their member. We may learn more information about all this. You want to tag along?" Orochimaru baited him, knowing very well that anything related to Itachi could be used to influence the fool in front of him. "Very well, I'll see that contact of yours, Kabuto. He will reveal his information about Naruto to me or I'll kill him too," said the Avenger as he deactivated his Jujutsu and slowly left the room. "Kukuku, soon. Very soon I will get what I want," mused Orochimaru. Chapter 25. Snake hidden in the grass. Namikaze compound. Naruto was inside his family house. He was remembering the events from yesterday that led him here, the council meeting and then unlocking his parents' house. He had sent clones to explore in order to get a basic layout of the entire place. The house was huge. He easily found the master bedroom, with his parents' stuff still inside, but decided to not touch anything and chose another room to use for himself. There was another room that got him interested, the library. That's where he was right now. The library room was also protected by blood seals, for inside was all his father's research and theories on every jutsu he ever made or planned to create. He also found his mother's notes about the Uzumaki female ability to control Bijou using chakra chains. He frowned at the thought of someone trying to restrain Natsuki using chains, even if it was his mother. Natsuki reassured him by saying that the context was different and that she too was different at the time. He found the notes on the Rasengan and the Hiraishin, but decided to put them aside for the moment. He already knew the Rasengan inside out and, of course, he also knew that the Hiraishin was a formidable jutsu, a space-time technique allowing his father to travel distances instantly. There was, however, something else he wanted to know more about, the Shiki Fujin. The room was really big. He was starting to wonder if his father left anything about it. While searching, he found the notes on the seal system protecting the house, how to add or remove any blood signature he wanted on the list of the authorized people to come inside. Suddenly, he heard the bell from his gates. Looking through the window, he saw an ANBU waiting for him at the limit of his compound. This was something new for him. He was used to them using Shunshin and appearing out of nowhere inside his old apartment. Of course, the seal protecting the perimeter of his home prevented such intrusion from now on. Cursing in his head that he did not find the notes on the Shiki Fujin, he then left the library room after sealing it again and made his way to the gates. "Namikaze-sama, Hokage-sama requires your presence in her office immediately," reported the ANBU kneeling in front of him as they met at the gates. He figured he would have to get used to being treated with such reverence, not enjoying people kneeling in front of him. "Very well, I'll go see what she wants," replied Naruto. His task done, the ANBU left. Naruto made sure to lock his compound, then used Shunshin to get to the Hokage tower. Hokage office. Upon arriving in Tsunade's office, Naruto saw that Jiraiya and Sakura were also there. "What did I miss, Bachan?" he asked. "Sakura, tell him what you know," Tsunade said to her apprentice. Sakura told them about the end of her fight against Sasori during the rescue mission in River Country. Apparently, Sasori was supposed to meet a spy he had in Orochimaru's ranks in 3 days from now on. The meeting is scheduled to take place near Kusagakure, on the bridge of heaven and earth. We also confirmed with Suna that Sasori is most likely using a mind control jutsu to activate dormant agents he places in enemies' camps. The victim is not aware of its conditioning and Sasori can activate his jutsu anytime he wishes as long as he is in range. That's how they bypassed Suna's defenses so easily. The captain guarding the gate was his sleeping agent and also the man you killed that looked like Itachi. Added Jiraiya. I assume from my presence that you want me to take part in this mission? Asked Naruto looking at Tsunade. He was very reluctant to stop his search for clues on the Shikifujin. Not that he could admit it to Tsunade or Jiraiya. Yes, I want you in for that mission. The objective is to collect any relevant information you can on Orochimaru, especially what he's been up to during the last 3 years. Someone will have to take the place of Sasori. Be it you or not, your unique genjutsu skills will come in handy for that task. Jiraiya will lead the mission, so I'll leave the strategy to him and Sakura will be the support medic, just like she was for the last mission in Suna. Tsunade explained. I don't know. I was actually in the middle something, replied Naruto, but he stopped talking when Sakura moved in front of him. Please, Naruto. I know you don't owe me or Team 7 anything, but I beg you. Please help us. She pleaded. Tsunade decided to intervene when she saw her disciple state. That wasn't an invitation, Naruto. You are a jonin now, you don't have the luxury to choose which mission you will or will not take anymore. You are leaving in 1 hour. Go home and pack. You are dismissed. Announced Tsunade. Very well, Hokage-sama. Naruto said as he made his way out of Tsunade's office. The tone he used to call her tittle clearly signaling that he wasn't happy with the way she just forced his hand. One last thing though, if we meet the Uchiha traitor on our way, don't expect me to go easy on him. I am not a lackey of the council. The Uchiha blood doesn't represent much to me. Quite the opposite, actually. Should he get on the way of our mission, I will put him down. Naruto said as he finally left. Sakura left too after some time to recompose herself. Tsunade and Jiraiya were stunned at the scene that just played out before their eyes. Tsunade remained silent while Jiraiya just closed his eyes and sighed heavily. What's up with him? Why was he so aggressive all of a sudden? Asked Tsunade. I don't know, the last time I saw him like that was in the 2nd year of the training trip. We were working on advanced level Fuinjutsu formula and he was still trying to develop the seal he now has on his heart. He was really annoyed by his lack of progress and used to snap a lot. Replied Jiraiya. Jiraiya! Tsunade started. Don't worry. I'll bring them both back. Jiraiya said. Namikaze's compound. Naruto was currently packing for his upcoming mission, still angered at his last conversation with Tsunade. Calm down, Narukuin. Don't let your anger control you, said Natsuki. I know. It's just that I'm so close to find some clues on how to free you, replied the blonde. You can always do that after you're back. I'm not going anywhere, nor is this house. Natsuki said in a reassuring tone. I guess you're right, but I can't believe I have to go just so they can get clues on how their precious Uchiha is doing. After what they've done to you, I won't take any risk with the Emo King if we meet him, replied Naruto. Alright. I also hate the Uchiha, but you still have to be careful and remain in control. Natsuki insisted in a worried tone. Fine, I promise I'll be careful. We'll talk later, Nachan. It's time I leave for that damn mission, Naruto said as he cut their link and left his compound. Kusagakure, 2 days later. The group arrived in Kusagakure in 2 days' time and decided to prepare for the meeting. They went on a recon mission to the place where the meeting is supposed to take place, the Bridge of Heaven and Earth. Jiraiya decided that Naruto would play the role of Sasori, Sakura and the Hermit would take cover and give assistance if needed. Consequently, Naruto trained for the remaining time to act like Sasori with the help of Sakura. He would use his ultimate Genjutsu Maboroshi no Sekai to cover his appearance and voice, and then extract anything he can from the spy. The day of the meeting finally came and the group was in position. Bridge of Heaven and Earth. Naruto posing as Sasori was standing alone in the middle of the bridge. Jiraiya and Sakura were hiding in the forest behind him. They did not have to wait too long as a shadow soon appeared in front of Naruto. It's good to see you again, Sasori-sama, said the shadowed figure wearing a dark robe with a hood hiding its face. As the shadow finally took the hood off, everyone was surprised. The The spy was Kabuto, Orochimaru's most trusted subordinate. "How are you feeling?" asked Naruto. "My mind is still a bit clouded from when you released your jutsu. It took me some time to remember who I was," replied the now identified Kabuto. "We don't have much time. If Orochimaru realizes my absence, I'm as good as dead," added Kabuto. "Tell me everything you know about the hideouts and Uchiha Sasuke," asked Naruto. Kabuto told him about some of the secret bases and that Orochimaru never stayed in the same hideout for long. He also said that he was currently in a base not too far from there, and that Sasuke was with him too. Kabuto then started to ask some tricky questions which answers only the true Sasori would know. Seeing his mission done and the enemy soon discovering his identity, Naruto prepared himself to take down Kabuto. Before he could act, out of nowhere appeared two more figures, much more interesting ones actually. Before Naruto, on the other side of the bridge now stood Orochimaru and Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura's heartbeat accelerated when she saw her childhood crush after 3 long years. She was about to charge in when Jiraiya stopped her. "What's the meaning of this Kabuto?" asked Orochimaru with a smirk on his face. "So that's Akatsuki? He doesn't really look that strong to me," bragged Sasuke. Kabuto instantly turned back and stood next to the fake Sasori in a guarding position, ready to face the snake Sannin and his new disciple. "You were followed, Kabuto," Naruto said, still playing his role. He was surprised though when a smirking Kabuto suddenly lashed at him and tried to take him out with a chakra scalpel jutsu. Both Orochimaru and Sasuke also smirked when they saw Kabuto's scalpel go through the fake Sasori Akatsuki's robe, most likely aiming for his heart. However, their eyes widened when they saw the body of Sasori slowly fading away after being hit by Kabuto. That was Genjutsu. The same thought went through the minds of the 3 Oto members. "Things are finally getting interesting. Not going to flee today, I hope, Oroki-chan?" asked a voice in a mocking tone. Orochimaru frowned when he heard the voice. He was sure he already heard it from somewhere but couldn't place it. After some time, his eyes widened as he finally realized who they were facing. "Show yourself, demon brat," spat the snake Sannin. "So you did remember me after all. I'm moved," said Naruto as he slowly appeared on the other side of the bridge. He was already in his first stance, the Muga no Kyuchi with his vest off and his tattoo already missing the original circle around the 3 kama. "Naruto," growled Sasuke as he saw the murderer of his brother. "So that's Konoha's Kaze no Kami. I have to admit I'm impressed. You have accomplished quite a lot since the last time we met, Naruto-kun. It seems the rumors about you taking out all those S-rank shinobi are true since you're here instead of Sasori," Orochimaru said as Kabuto jumped back and took position beside the snake Sannin. "You're still the same creepy snake you were the last time we met too, though I learned you tried to kill Itachi too in the past. Are you sure you really tried hard enough?" "It wasn't really difficult for me," Naruto replied with a grin on his face. Not being able to contain himself any longer, Sasuke launched himself at Naruto with his Sharingan flaring in anger. Orochimaru gave a nod to Kabuto, signaling him to make sure his precious future container would not be accidentally damaged. Naruto's eyes never left Orochimaru and did not even pay attention to the incoming forms of Sasuke and Kabuto. As they were about to reach the blonde, out of nowhere Sakura appeared in front of Kabuto and used a super punch to send him flying aside. The ground below Sasuke started to shake and the Avenger felt himself being dragged into the ground, courtesy of Jiraiya also appearing at Naruto's side. Orochimaru was distracted for a second when he saw his old teammate popping out of thin air. That's the time it took for Naruto to cross the bridge and deliver a powerful punch into the snake's jaw. The result was Orochimaru flying backwards for at least 100 meters. "I'll deal with the snake. Those 2 are yours," said Naruto before powering up a standard Rasengan and completely annihilating the bridge with it afterward. "Naruto, wait." Jiraiya tried to stop his disciple, but it was in vain as Naruto was already gone. With Naruto and Orochimaru, Naruto appeared in front of Orochimaru, who stood back up very slowly. The face of the Sannin was showing a weird scar from Naruto's punch. It was as if it was peeling away, revealing the face of someone completely new under it. However, Naruto saw a few photos of the Sannin in the past and knew what the real Orochimaru looked like. "Who the hell are you?" asked the blonde. "Kukuku. I am the real Orochimaru," You were just looking at my current container, replied the snake. So that's the jutsu you were developing that earned you the Get Out of Konoha card from Gigi. Analyzed Naruto out loud. Very perceptive. That's indeed my immortality jutsu. Bragged Orochimaru before he replaced his fake visage back and charged at Naruto. They then engaged in a taijutsu exchange, gauging each other levels. Naruto thought that Orochimaru was not as powerful as Guy but fast enough to attack and evade him in his original released form. He also recognized the snake taijutsu style that Anko showed him during their spars, that helped him to keep up with the Sannin. You are quite good, Naruto-kun. Sasuke-kun actually needs to activate his Sharingan with the 3 Tomo in order to match me in taijutsu, said Orochimaru while trying to catch his breath. I see. How about we kick it up a notch then? Naruto said as he took a step back. He took out his katana in his right hand and lightly cut his thumb with it. He then applied some blood on his fox tattoo and moved his katana back in its sheath. He did the single hand sign and then called his jutsu, Futon. Hyakuren Jitoku no Kiwami, he said as the wind around him violently picked up and a kama disappeared from the tattoo on his heart. With that, Naruto charged at Orochimaru again. This time, Orochimaru was completely dominated. Naruto appeared to be much faster and stronger than before. The snake noticed that every part of his body felt heavier. Even breathing was becoming a difficulty. What did you do to me? Snarled the Sannin before going through hand signs. Katan. Ryuka no Jutsu. Yelled Orochimaru. A dragon of fire was launched at Naruto. As it was about to reach him, it strangely went around its target, turned back and then raced towards Orochimaru with twice the speed and power it originally had. Orochimaru narrowly escaped the giant fire dragon by jumping at the last moment. As he landed, he found himself really tired again. You're starting to feel it, and did you really expect me to answer you? Replied Naruto as he continued his assault. Orochimaru was starting to take more and more hits while Naruto did not even look tired. Naruto managed to catch him off guard again, then hit him with a devastating taijutsu combo, leaving the broken body of the snake Sannin on the ground. As he went to finish him, Naruto saw the mouth of his enemy suddenly opening wide. In front of him, the broken core of Orochimaru spat another healthy-looking body of himself. Orochimaru, in his new body, decided to create some distance with Naruto. He then went through hand signs and launched a jutsu, Mandara no Jin. He called his jutsu as thousands of snakes came out of his mouth, targeting Naruto. Interesting. Looks like some Kuchios jutsu. It still looks creepy though, thought the blonde before preparing his own jutsu. He made a single clone and hold out his right hand. He performed a Rasengan while his clone charged wind chakra in the orb. After some time, with the addition of the wind chakra, the Rasengan changed and took the form of a giant Fuma Shuriken. You fool, I know about your jutsu and how you defeated Kabuto with it. You will never be close enough, reach me with it. Taunted Orochimaru as his snakes were about to reach Naruto. Who said I needed to be close? Naruto replied with a smirk and then launched his jutsu. Futon. Raisen Shuriken, he said as the wind-powered chakra orb left his hand. Orochimaru's eyes widened as the flying Rasengan completely annihilated the wave of snakes approaching Naruto. The Mandara no Jin did not even slow it down. I have to act fast or even I could die if it hits me, mused Orochimaru as he prepared his next move. Biting his thumbs, he then slammed his hands to the ground and launched his jutsu, Kuchios, Sunju Rashomen. Similar to what happened during the fight against Kabuto during the rescue of Tsunade, Orochimaru's absolute defense appeared out of the ground, but instead of one door, 3 were summoned. When the Raisen Shuriken impacted the first door, everything went blank. Chapter 26. New Assignments. Bridge of Heaven and Earth. Near the destroyed bridge could be seen 4 figures. Sasuke was currently trapped in Jiraiya's Earth Jutsu. When he charged at Naruto and went through the blonde's illusion field, he did not notice Jiraiya's jutsu until it was already too late, even with the Sharingan. The Avenger's body was completely buried and only his head was floating above the muddy ground. Jiraiya made sure he wouldn't get out by quickly applying a chakra restriction seal on his forehead. Jiraiya was now standing next to his prisoner. A rope in his hand was the only thing preventing Sasuke from completely sinking into the mud trap and drown. Kabuto wasn't doing any better. When he followed his master's next container, he didn't see the incoming punch of Sakura until it was too late. He also bitterly regretted underestimating the Leaf Kunoichi. The last memory he got of her was her frail and useless self in the Chunin exams 3 years ago. Consequently, when he was hit with the first punch, he didn't activate his high healing ability, thinking that she wouldn't deal him any serious damage. How wrong he was, as now he could barely stay on his 2 feet. His healing technique was finally activated, but the damage was done. He was trying to evade Sakura's hits, but in his current condition it proved to be very difficult. He decided to run and evade until his healing was complete. The 4 ninja suddenly felt the ground shake and turned their heads towards the other side of the bridge. They saw quite far away from their current position Orochimaru's ultimate defense jutsu rapidly rising from the ground. A few seconds after that, a blinding light erupted from the same position, and as fast as they appeared, the 3 demonic gates also completely vanished. The reactions were diverse from this side of the bridge. It was Orochimaru-sama Sunju Rashomon Jutsu just now. He only uses it in extreme situation. Kabuto mused. I wonder what the idiot used to destroy those gates. Were Sasuke's thoughts. That's Naruto's Raisen Shuriken. I wonder how the snake dealt with it. Jiraiya wondered. What the hell is going on? Sakura was completely oblivious to what was happening on the other side of the bridge. With Naruto and Orochimaru, the landscape was totally devastated by Naruto's jutsu. The wind generated by his Raisen Shuriken was so powerful it leveled a huge part of the forest they were fighting in. A huge cloud of dust was currently floating in the air. The blonde was calmly standing on the exact same spot he was when he launched his jutsu. The recoil from the wind technique apparently not affecting him one bit. He just observed the results. There was no trace of Orochimaru, but he doubted that it was enough to kill the traitorous snake. After some seconds, the cloud of dust finally settled down. In front of him laid an ocean of dead snakes, their bodies shredded by the slicing wind blades created by Naruto's jutsu. A little bit further from there was a gigantic crater at the spot where Orochimaru summoned his 3 gates of hell. As Naruto made his way towards Ground Zero, he saw the unmoving body of his enemy. Just like the snakes, Orochimaru's body was covered with deep cuts. Naruto was about to take a step further when he was forced to stop and put up his guard. The exact same scene of Orochimaru spitting another body as he did earlier happened, though this time the new body didn't seem as healthy as the previous time he switched. Orochimaru, in his 3rd body, slowly stood up. He was panting, unable to catch his breath, and his body was covered with slicing wounds, though not as deep as the previous body. His jutsu did something to my chakra circulatory system. I can't properly mold my chakra. I've used most of it anyway with the successive body renewal jutsu. He doesn't even look tired. I can't stay here any longer, thought Orochimaru. The snake Sannin then suddenly did a single hand sign and looked into Naruto's eyes. Kanashibari no jutsu, he yelled. Naruto did not expect the sudden sneak attack and lost control of his body for a second. He quickly overcame the paralysis jutsu, but when he looked up, he saw Orochimaru's extended sword ready to pierce his heart. Without thinking, Naruto launched a defensive move. Senpo, Ryu no Hata, he called as his wings instantly appeared from his back and went to cover his body. Everything went really fast. The Kusanagi went through the double protective layer provided by Naruto's wings. It stopped its course 1 inch away from Naruto's skin, the tip right above his heart, then instantly retracted. When Naruto removed his guard, he saw the retreating form of Orochimaru trying to make a run for it. The snake wasn't as fast as he was at the beginning of their fight, though Naruto was wounded too. His wings were actually hurting him quite a bit. To think he was able to block that attack, that's the move I used against the previous Kazekage. Damn it, thought Orochimaru as he went to collect his 2 subordinates on the other side of the bridge. Bridge of Heaven and Earth. Jiraiya was still guarding the trapped Sasuke, while Sakura and Kabuto were in a heated taijutsu exchange fight. His plan worked. Kabuto's healing technique repaired the damages he sustained earlier while he stalled Sakura with taijutsu. He was about to go on the offensive and take her out when he felt his master's presence. Out of nowhere, the extended Kusanagi appeared, aiming for Jiraiya's heart. The Toad Sannin had no choice but to let go of his hold on the prisoner and moved backwards. Taking advantage of the moment of confusion, Kabuto backhanded Sakura and threw her aside. He then ran to the drowning Sasuke and pulled him out. "We're leaving. Hurry up, we have no time to waste anymore," ordered Orochimaru as he emerged from the spot where the Kusanagi appeared. Kabuto immediately complied and dragged the numbed body of Sasuke Uchiha with him, following his master. Jiraiya cursed as he saw the unmoving body of Sakura on the ground. Remembering his promise with Tsunade to bring back their two disciples, he went to assist the Kunoichi, rather than pursuing the group of Oto ninja. It was at this moment that Naruto appeared from the same direction Orochimaru came from earlier with his dragon wings still deployed. He slowly flew down to the position of Jiraiya and Sakura before looking in the direction where their three opponents just fled to. He took a deep breath and then closed his eyes. "Senpo Ryugen," he yelled before opening his eyes. Instead of the usual oceanic blue color, they had golden-colored iris, with long slitted black pupils. Naruto then took a familiar stance before pointing his katana in the snake's direction. "Futon. Kamishini no Yari," he said as his blade glowed. It was only luck and mostly years of experience that allowed Orochimaru to sense the impending doom. The millisecond it took him to maneuver his body in order to look back allowed him to avoid Naruto's long-range divine spear technique hitting him right in the center of his back. He only felt a gush of wind above his right arm before it exploded in a shower of blood. The attack and the pain it caused made Orochimaru miss a step while tree jumping. He was about to fall to the ground when Kabuto caught him. The medic ninja now had to carry his two companions, not an easy feat with his already weakened body. However, he somehow managed and the three of them could finally leave the area without further troubles. Seeing that his attack failed, Naruto sighed heavily before turning back to join Jiraiya and Sakura. "So that's your jujitsu, you never showed it to me before," Jiraiya said, looking at his disciple's eyes. "More like body enhancement due to my Sage mode, just like your resistance and strength in Gamma Sennin mode," replied Naruto truthfully to his master. "What does it do exactly? I mean, other than giving you a mean look in the eyes," slightly joked Jiraiya. "Haha. Really funny. Seen your face lately when you use that Sennin mode of yours?" Naruto taunted before adopting a serious demeanor again. "The dragon eye gives me near-perfect vision. I can see in high details on much higher lengths than the human eye. Then I also have an easier time to follow objects moving at high speed with it than normally. Finally, because of a wider wavelength spectrum sensitivity than for the human eye, it also allows me night vision," said Naruto to his master. "Impressive. So that's how you were able to hit them just a moment ago, even if they were so far away," replied Jiraiya. "Yep, there's really no point in having this long-range jutsu if I can't pinpoint my opponent's position," said Naruto as he slowly deactivated his Sage mode. "Well, now while we wait for Tsunade's apprentice to wake up, why don't you tell me all about your fight with my ex-teammate?" ordered Jiraiya. "All right, but I'll tell you something right now. That teammate of yours is one sick freak," Naruto started and Jiraiya chuckled at his disciple's antics. "Anyway, it went like this." Naruto told Jiraiya the details of his fight against Orochimaru, from the moment he destroyed the bridge to the moment he reappeared before using his long-ranged piercing technique. "Well, it seems this mission will end in failure. Can't be helped, it was a trap all along. Kabuto was most likely freed from Sasori's control by Orochimaru a long time ago," announced Jiraiya. "I seriously doubt that anything he told me about their bases is the truth either," added Naruto. "Let's not worry about that for now. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about," said Jiraiya. "What is it?" asked Naruto. "I wanted to talk about the scene you made in Tsunade's office. Why were you so reluctant to be in this mission?" Jiraiya demanded. Naruto sighed and then went to check Sakura's status to make sure she was still unconscious. After confirming it, he turned to his master. "I'm trying to find my father's notes on the Shiki Fujin in order to find a way to free Natsuki without killing myself in the process," Naruto finally confessed. Jiraiya's eyes widened at Naruto's answer. It all made sense now. He was also working on this topic the last time he was like that, during their training trip. "I suppose you're not making any progress then?" Jiraiya asked, getting a nod from Naruto. Jiraiya pondered for a moment the consequences of telling Naruto about the key to his seal, but in the end decided that it was still too soon. "Don't give up. I'm sure you'll find a way," Your father was very secretive about those things, so I don't really know, Jiraiya said. After 2 hours, Sakura finally woke up and directly looked for the Uchiha Avenger. What happened? Where is Sasuke-kun? She asked while slowly standing up. The mission is a failure. We could not get any intelligence on Orochimaru, and Uchiha Sasuke also escaped again. When Kabuto knocked you out, he and Orochimaru were able to free him and fled the area. Naruto managed to severely wound Orochimaru, though I'm pretty sure it was not the last of him we will ever see. Jiraiya replied as Sakura looked down. What now, Ero-sennin? Naruto asked Jiraiya. I doubt Orochimaru and his goons left any exploitable tracks, and it wouldn't be a good idea to charge after them either, now that they know about us. We have no choice but to cancel the mission and go back to Konoha, announced Jiraiya. You two will go back after you're fully rested. I have another mission waiting for me, added the hermit. What? Where are you going? Naruto asked. To aim. It's about your new status there. Jiraiya replied, and Naruto understood it was the infiltration mission his master was talking about. It made sense since Amigakure wasn't really far from where they were right now. Naruto frowned, then thought back about what Natsuki and Jiraiya told him. He then decided that they were right and that he could still work on the seal when he gets back. I'm going with you. It's about me after all, Naruto said with conviction. Jiraiya looked at his godson with pride and then spoke again. I'm afraid you can't go with me this time. It's a sensitive mission. Every spy I sent there was discovered and disposed of shortly after. It is best if I do this alone this time. It will lower the chance of being discovered. Plus, I promised Tsunade that you and her disciple would get back to the leaf safely, and I too am a man of my word, Jiraiya said with a smile. Seeing the logic in his master's words, Naruto complied, and shortly after, he and Sakura went east back towards Konoha while Jiraiya went south, in the direction of aim. Be careful, Ero-sennin. I'll see you in Konoha, yelled Naruto to his master as they parted ways. Konoha Hokage office. Tsunade was currently seated in front of 2 people inside her office. They both looked quite young. So let me get this straight. Your leader wants me to send you a ninja in order to help you win your civil war against Yagura, Tsunade said. My name is Haku Yuki and my partner is Chojuro. And yes, you are correct, Hokage-sama, but we don't want any ninja. We want the Kaze no Kami. We want Uzumaki Naruto, replied the now identified Haku. Tsunade sighed. The brat is not going to like this, but it is a good opportunity to know what's going on in Kiri, she thought as she prepared herself for the upcoming confrontation with her favorite blonde Jonin. Main gates, 2 days later. As Naruto and Sakura made it back to Konoha, 2 days after parting ways with Jiraiya, they were again greeted by Kotetsu and Izumo. Same as last time, they were asked to report immediately to the Hokage Tower. Naruto sighed at the deja vu but complied and used Shunshin to reach Tsunade's office. Amigakure, at the same time, in the country where the rain never stops, in the middle of a small lake, a toad slowly emerged. From its stretched mouth, a man appeared and slowly made his way to the ground. Infiltration successful, Jiraiya thought. Chapter 27, Reunions. Konoha Hokage office. Naruto and Sakura were granted access to Tsunade's office immediately as they arrived. Shizen followed the duo into her master's office and then closed the door behind her. Tsunade had a smile on her face when she saw the 2 of them come into her office, relieved that they both came back safely as Jiraiya promised. Seeing the look on Sakura's face, she already knew the mission ended in a failure. Nevertheless, she ordered Naruto to give his report, as he was the one with the highest rank in Jiraiya's absence. Glad to have you both back. I already know about Jiraiya's next mission. Now give me a report on your mission, Naruto, she said to the blonde. Naruto told her everything, how Kabuto was in fact a double agent, the fight against Orochimaru, and finally how they escaped. I see. Then this mission will be classified as a failure. I'm sorry, Sakura, announced Tsunade with a comforting look to her disciple. Is there anything else, Tsunade-sama? Asked the kunoichi to her master. No, good work both of you. You are dismissed, Sakura. Naruto, you stay, replied Tsunade. Sakura bowed to her leader, then left the office. Tsunade then had Shizen go summon some guests and told Naruto to take a seat. They stayed like this, just the 2 of them, silent for a moment before Naruto decided to speak. Bachan, there's something I wanted to say to you. He started. What is it? And how many times did I tell you to stop calling me that already? Replied Tsunade. I wanted to apologize for the way I acted before we left for the mission last time. I was preoccupied with something and let my temper get the best of me. I'm sorry. Naruto said. It's alright, I know you've been involved in a lot of things lately, and you never asked for any of those to happen. Jiraiya and I wanted for you to live a peaceful life too. But some things in this world are just impossible. Replied Tsunade with a smile. Speaking of that, do you know anything about the place where Ero-Sennin went to? Asked Naruto. Well, I've been there before. We faced their leader there once with Jiraiya and Orochimaru. His name is Hanzo the Salamander, and he is the one who named us the Sannin after he defeated us. We don't know much about their current status. Every spying mission in that country ended in failure. I told him it was too dangerous, but Jiraiya insisted to go. He told me that he would do everything in his power to protect you. Tsunade said as Naruto had a smile on his face. So why did you wanted me to stay here anyway? Asked Naruto. Actually, it is linked to the mission Jiraiya is currently undergoing. Let's wait for the guests I told Shizune to summon, and you will understand everything. Finished Tsunade. Then she continued her paperwork while Naruto just relaxed in his seat. Time skip, 30 minutes later. Naruto was about to doze off when the door to Tsunade's office suddenly opened. Shizune was back and she brought 2 people with her. Naruto was still a bit out of it but instantly recognized one of them when he finally looked up to them. Haku, is that really you? The blonde asked. Yes, it's me. It's been a long time, Uzumaki-san. Replied Haku. What are you doing here? And more importantly, where is that old fool Zabuza? I still have to thank him for putting me inside that damn book. Naruto said. It's a long story. Why don't you sit back and let me tell you the reason I'm here? Haku said. Sit down, Naruto, and listen to him. This is the reason I told you to stay back after all. Tsunade ordered. Naruto nodded and then sat back down. Haku then started his story. Apparently, after they left Wave Country, Zabuza decided to go back home and try again to overthrow Yagura. Not in the same way he did the last time though. This time he needed to have better preparations. His last attempt failed because he didn't have enough men and tried to attack the Mizukage frontally. Consequently, he joined the rebellion, the side of the bloodline users. After the revolt of the Kagaya clan, Yagura became paranoid and started to purge every bloodline user clan they had in Kiri. The clans had no other choice but to flee their homes and formed the rebellion to resist extermination. Their leader is quite mysterious and only a few know his true name or face. The only known fact is that he is wielding not 1 but 2 powerful bloodlines. The civil war has been going on for years now. The rebellion managed to achieve some victories over the Mizukage, but they still lack something crucial in order for them to win once and for all. They do not have anyone capable of matching the firepower of the Mizukage Yagura, the Jinchuriki of the 3-tailed demon. And that is why our leader wants you to join our side, Uzumaki-san. It is a well-known fact that you once defeated the Jinchuriki of the 1-tailed raccoon when you were only a genin. We also know of your more recent achievements. Would you please lend us a hand in stopping this war that has plagued our country for years? Asked Haku as he finished his story. It's up to you, Naruto. I won't force you to go this time. But don't forget that this may be a good lead to what Akatsuki has been up to since your name has come up in the bingo book with Kiri also wanting your head. Tsunade said as Naruto was looking in her direction for her orders. Naruto thought about it for a moment. He then remembered that Jiraiya was currently risking his life in a similar mission, just to protect him. He took a deep breath, then gave his decision to the people waiting for him in the room. Fine, I'm in. Naruto replied with a smile. Tsunade was proud of her jonin and last living relative, but she had to warn him about something else too. Before you leave, there's something you must know. Konoha cannot officially support the rebellion. It could provide the Mizukage with a reason to declare war on us. We do not have the resources nor the will to go at war with another major village right now. Therefore, if you take this mission, you will have to leave anything that would identify you as a Konoha shinobi here before you join them. Tsunade announced. She got a nod from Naruto. The last thing he wanted for his village was a war where countless lives would be lost. That would be all. You are to leave in 1 hour. Dismissed. Tsunade finished as everyone left her office. Namikaze's compound. Naruto was finally home after the failed mission in Kusagakure. Fortunately for him, packing went fast since he was practically a master in Fuinjutsu. Everything he needed went into scrolls. Thinking about Tsunade's warning on keeping a low profile, he made sure to leave his leaf headband home. Nothing else in his current gear was betraying his affiliation to Konoha, so with that, he was done with the packing. He decided to relax a bit, seeing that he still had some time before he had to leave. "Nachan, what do you know about the Sanbai?" asked Naruto. "It's been ages since I last saw that overgrown turtle. His Jinchuriki should have a very high affinity to the water element," replied Natsuki. "How was his personality? Do you think it has something to do with the Mizukage's sudden change of attitude towards the bloodline holders?" Naruto asked, thinking about Gaara's case and the harmful influence Shikaku had on him. "I've been thinking about it too, but something is strange. Sanbai was never an aggressive one. He always sought peace and tried to coexist with the human race," Natsuki said with confusion in her tone. "Then, if it doesn't come from the bijou, something must have happened to the host. Before the Kaguya incident, Yagura was supposedly a gentle and peaceful leader. Something doesn't add in this story." Naruto analyzed out loud. "Remember to be very careful, Narukuin. It doesn't matter that you can control up to 5 tails. Even a genin could kill a Kage with a lucky shot. Never underestimate your opponents," Natsuki said to him, worried that he would be overconfident. "Don't worry so much, Nachan. I promise I'll be careful. You'll be there to scold me anyway if I'm not," Naruto joked. When the time to leave for the mission came, Naruto made sure to lock his manor, then made his way to the gates. Konoha Gates. Naruto was the last to arrive at the gates. Not that he was late though. Tsunade and Shizune were there to see him off. Haku and Chojuro were ready to leave and waited for him. "Well, I'm off again, Bachan Nechan," Naruto said to the two kunoichi. "Be careful out there, Naruto. You are a jonin now. I trust that you will do well in your mission," Tsunade said. "Go and make us proud, Naruto-kun," Shizune added. And with that he left, following Haku and his companion. "So what's the plan? Where do we go first?" Naruto asked Haku. "Our destination is Wave Country. From there we'll take a boat that will take us to one of the smaller islands surrounding Kirigakure. Our main camp is located on one of those islands. You will meet our leader there," Haku replied, and Naruto nodded. Unknown location. In a huge dark cave, another meeting between the Akatsuki members was taking place. "Report, Zetsu," the leader said. "The Ichibi is under good guard now that we failed the first attempt on him. It won't be easy to go after him now. The security of Suna has been completely upgraded and the same tactic won't work again. The Nibi and Hachibi are both hidden in Kumo. We never had any contact inside and they don't trust any foreigner. We don't have much info on either of them. Sanbai and Rokubi are still in Kiri, though it seems the rebel faction is gaining territory over Yagura lately. It may be wise to take them out now. Yanbi and Gobi should be the easiest to get. They are left alone in IWA and no one really cares about them. They live like hermits in the outskirts of Iwagakure. Nanabai is still hidden in Takigakure. The village defenses are weak, so we should have an easy time capturing it. Finally, the Kyubi is still a problem. I managed to spy on him during his fight with Orochimaru. Our ex-member was utterly dominated by him. In addition to what we already knew about him, it seems he completed a new version of the Rasengan. It is a jutsu he can throw, contrary to the version developed by the 4th Hokage. Orochimaru deployed his Sunju Rashomon against it but was still overpowered. Right now, he's in Konoha. Zetsu finished his report. "We will concentrate on the easier targets for now. Itachi and Kisame will go to IWA. Kakuzu and Haiden will go to Kiri. Deidara and Tobi will go to Taki. Konoha, Suna and Kumo are still out of our reach for now," announced the leader. With that, every member cancelled his communication jutsu and faded into the darkness. Otogakure, underground base. Orochimaru was in his room, bedridden, with Kabuto at his side. "I have the results of your medical exams, my lord," said the medic. "What did that damn brat do to me? Why can't I properly mold my chakra even after regenerating my body?" asked Orochimaru. "The analysis have shown that you suffer from damages to your chakra circulatory system. His wind attack seems to act like a poison that slowly disables your capacity to use your chakra network. I've never seen anything like that. It interacts with your body to the cellular level. There's nothing you can do against it in your current body. Even with the body renewal jutsu you used during your fight with him, it would be the same. The disease is spreading through your chakra. Replied Kabuto. I see. So there is only one solution to this. Orochimaru said. Yes, my lord. You will need to transfer your soul again to a new container. That's the only way to escape that curse. Confirmed the medic. Speaking of that, what is he up to right now? Asked the Sannin. He's training as usual. He does nothing else than that nowadays, aside from brooding, of course. Replied Kabuto. How are the preparations for the ritual? Orochimaru demanded. Everything will be ready in 3 weeks. Kabuto said as he changed a bandage for his master. Good. Restrict his movements to inside the space only and never let him out of your sight from now on. I've gone this far, it's finally time I collect, said a smirking Orochimaru. As you command, my lord. Kabuto replied as he left the room. Small island south of Kirigakure. It took 3 days for Naruto and the 2 rebel members to reach the main base of the rebellion. Everywhere around them, the lands were covered by a thick mist, providing a natural protection for the rebel camp. At the main gates of the base, they were greeted by a middle-aged man wearing an eye patch. His name was Ao, and he seemed to be someone of high ranking among the rebels. They were about to go inside the main building when Ao stopped them. I will have to ask you to hand over your sword and put on those handcuffs before you are presented to our leader, he demanded from Naruto. Naruto saw the seals engraved on the handcuffs and realized that they would completely block his chakra the moment he put them on. Listen now, old man. I came here to help you win a war, not to become your bitch. Now you have a choice. You will let me pass and go meet that leader of yours, or I'll simply turn back and leave the same way I came. I wouldn't advise you or your men to try to stop me either. If you thought Yagura was a cruel man, you surely won't enjoy what I can do, Naruto said in a cold voice, unleashing killing intent. Anyway, I may be all right with handing over my sword, but you sure as hell can be sure that I will never put those cuffs on, he added. Haku and Chijuro didn't know what to do. They completely forgot that Ao was a really prudent man when it came to security, but they also understood Naruto. He would be completely defenseless if he accepted to put on those cuffs. The guards around them tensed immediately at the confrontation. They were about to reach out for their weapons when a new voice interrupted them. That's enough. Stand down. All of you put your weapons down, ordered a voice that Naruto instantly recognized. As a man slowly made his way out of the main building, the guards moved away from his path and Naruto was greeted with a face he didn't see for 3 years. Zabuza, growled Naruto, remembering the man he spared during the wave mission, but mostly the man who gave him his moniker and his first profile in the bingo book. Chapter 28, Rebellion. Southern Island, Rebel Base. The tension was at its peak when Naruto saw Zabuza making his way out of the building. The ex-Kiri shinobi just walked calmly towards the blonde and stopped when he saw Naruto putting a hand on his katana. Relax. There's no need to blast your KI, killing intent, all over the area like that. It will only serve to alert Yagura and his forces that our base is here, started Zabuza. So we finally meet again, Momochi Zabuza. Don't think for a second that I forgot the wonderful present you gave me 3 years ago, after I went through the trouble of sparing your life on that bridge, replied Naruto, still in a defensive stance. You didn't complain at the time. I believe I said something like, your generosity and your skill shall reach your enemies, even before you have had the chance to meet them on the battlefield, young man. And that's exactly what I did. You, on the other hand, still letting me leave after I said that, kinda gave me the authorization to proceed, Zabuza said with a mocking tone. Naruto's eyes widened as he was replaying the scene in his mind. He relaxed his stance and moved his hand away from his katana before speaking again. All right, I will concede with you on this. However, you guys can keep on dreaming if you think for a second that I will let you seal off my chakra. Speaking of that, I sure hope you aren't the mysterious rebel leader Zabuza, or this war won't be a long one, Naruto said in his own mocking tone. Zabuza chuckled at the jab, but let it slide. The tension was finally going down, and that was a good achievement. The last thing they needed was to fight someone of Naruto's rank right now, if the hit list in his bingo book profile was a good indication. I see you're still cocky as ever, but don't worry. I may be of high ranking in the rebellion, but I'm not the leader. Come with me. I'll introduce you to the real leader, and you don't need to put the chakra restriction cuffs on either. Replied Zabuza. I cannot allow this, Zabuza. We don't know anything about him. You can't be serious about him meeting the leader with no restriction. Yelled Ao. I will vouch for him, don't worry. We're the ones asking for a favor after all. Unless you want their meeting to happen here in the open, I could always bring the leader here instead. Zabuza baited, knowing in advance how to push his comrades' buttons. That would be even worse. Alright, fine. He can go inside without the cuffs, but I still want the katana gone. Ao put his foot down this time. Zabuza knew it and turned his head to Naruto, who sighed. Naruto took out and tossed his katana to Haku, then finally followed Zabuza inside the building. Main island. Two shadows were slowly walking through the thick mist on the main island of Water Country. They both wore black robes with red clouds, signaling their allegiance to Akatsuki. The first one had medium-length silver hair and purple eyes. His robe was slightly opened around his neck, revealing a forehead protector he wore as a choker with the slashed emblem from Yugakure on it. He was carrying a triple-bladed scythe on his back. The second was tall, dark-skinned, and had a muscular build. He wore a white hood with a black face mask. Only his eyes were visible on his face. Those eyes had a strange coloring, green iris with no pupils and red sclera. He wore a forehead protector with the scratched emblem of Takigakure. Who are we going after first? Asked the first one. If you used your head for a moment, Hayden, you would realize that one of the target will be way easier to get than the other one. Replied the second. Which one is it? Wait, did you just call me an idiot? Kakuzu? Hayden yelled at his partner. You think? Anyway, the easier target would be the Rokubi, since he is isolated, while the other one is the Mizukage and has a personal army at his disposal to protect himself. Replied Kakuzu, ignoring his associate's rants. I'll kill you one day, you hear me? Where are we going to find him? Hayden said. You wish you could. Zetsu spotted him on one of the eastern island of Water Country. Kakuzu reminded him. I'm sure I'll find a way. Jashin-sama will have your head, said Hayden. We lost enough time on this island. Let's go. Finished Kakuzu as they disappeared in the mist. Rebel Base, meeting room. Naruto was led to a room that looked like the one they had in Konoha for the council meetings. Haku and Chijuro were still with him, while Zabuza and Ao were following just behind them. In the center of the room stood a woman who immediately caught Naruto's attention. She was a slender woman, apparently in her 30s. She had ankle-length auburn hair. Her eyes were light green. She was dressed in a long-sleeved dark blue dress that fell just below the knees. Underneath, she wore a mesh shirt that covered more of her upper body than her dress, but stopped short of covering her shoulders and still leaves a sizable cleavage. She also wore shorts in the same color as her dress and, underneath those, mesh leggings reaching down over her knees. Finally, she had high-heeled sandals and shin guards reaching up over her knees. Mei-sama, we brought back reinforcement from Konoha as discussed, said Haku as he bowed to the woman. I trust that there was no trouble during your mission to bring him back here? Replied Mei while looking at Naruto. Well, we encountered no problem in Konoha nor on the road to get here, but started Haku, but he was hesitant to relate the heated conversation they had at the gates earlier. Cyclops here wanted to force me to wear those lovely handcuffs of yours, though I politely declined. I was about to force my way back to Konoha when Zabuza arrived and kindly invited me in, on the condition that I surrender my katana, which I did. Naruto cut in as he looked back at Ao. Receiving a nod from Zabuza, Mei sighed heavily and turned back to Naruto. I'm sorry for his behavior, but he was only thinking about my safety. In the past 3 years, Yagura sent countless assassins to kill me. He managed several times to come close to achieve that objective, planting his agents in my army. The only ones I fully trust with my life are in this room. My name is Terumi Mei and I am the leader of the rebellion. She replied with a smile. I understand. I'm also sorry for overreacting like that, but I had no reason to trust any of you guys. For all I know, this could be a very elaborate plan from Kiri or Akatsuki to take me down. Let's work on that trust thing then. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. I am also the one named Kaze no Kami in the bingo book, courtesy of our common friend Zabuza here. I'm here on a mission to assist the rebel forces to take down Yagura the Mizukage. Naruto announced. Everyone in the room was stunned by the Namikaze name. Mei was the first to regain her composure. Namikaze as in Namikaze Minato? She asked. Yes, the fourth is my father. Not many people outside Konoha's High Council are aware of that, but I'll trust you with that information on me. Naruto replied. The people in the room were surprised he would openly trust them with such a sensitive information. Now that they were told, they could all see the face of the famous Yondaime Hokage while looking at Naruto. Haku, give him his katana back. Mei ordered, and Haku was about to hand over the katana back when Ao protested. Is it really prudent, Mei-sama? Asked the man. Yes, it is. He trusted us with his real name and lineage. The least we could do is to trust him back, replied the redhead as Naruto got his weapon back. Now that it's settled, why don't you tell me how we're gonna take down Yagura? Naruto said with a smile. Mei gave him the statu quo between the loyalists and her rebel army. In the last 3 years, Yagura lost control over most of the islands around Kirigakure. Only the main island remains fully under his control. The final assault has been planned for weeks now, but they needed a trump card in order to win the final battle. They needed someone powerful enough to match the power of a Jinchuriki fully in control of his tailed beast. So that's where you come in, Uzumaki-san. Finished Mei. I see. I do have a way to deal with a Jinchuriki, but I'll need your assistance, replied Naruto. It will take a couple of days to gather the troops and equipment needed for the final battle. You can stay and rest in this base while the preparations are in progress, Mei said. She was about to leave the room when Naruto interrupted her. Just one last thing. I thought Kiri also had the Rokubi Jinchuriki. What about him? Naruto asked. Utakata escaped years ago. All we know is that he's hiding somewhere in one of the islands surrounding Kirigakure. We tried to find him and make him join our cause, but we never encountered him. Mei replied and then left the conference room. Kirigakure. It had been 2 days since Naruto joined the rebels. Today was the day of the final battle. The rebel forces had been divided in 4 equal groups and would attack the main island from 4 different angles. While the troops under Yagura set out to defend their borders, a smaller task force was supposed to infiltrate the village and go directly for Yagura himself. The plan was simple: take out the head and the rest would follow shortly after. Naruto was in the advanced group that was infiltrating Kirigakure, of course. Ao, Zabuza, Haku and Mei were also with him, while Chijuro was leading the main army's attack. They were currently observing the battalions of loyalists Kirinins getting out of the village to join the front lines. How is it going so far? Asked Mei to Ao, who surprisingly had a Byakugan under his eye patch. Naruto decided to let it slide for now. Very good, Mei-sama. Yagura is sending out most of his troops to defend the island. I estimate that only 1/10 of his army is still within the village. Ao reported. All right, start the operation then. Mei ordered as their squad came closer to Naruto, who activated his Maboroshi no Sekai Jinjutsu field, hiding everyone's presence. They were nearly at the Mizukage Tower when a voice stopped them. Suetun. Suryuden no Jutsu. A gigantic water dragon made its way towards Naruto and his group. The size of the water beast had to be at least twice the size of the one Zabuza used against Naruto in Wave Country. The technique crashed right into Naruto's wind dome, washing away those who weren't fast enough to evade it. From the group of 15 elite shinobi, only 5 remained: Naruto, Mei, Zabuza, Ao, and Haku. The others had their neck broken by the power of the water current. Naruto's genjutsu was affected by the surge of water charged chakra and dispelled. How did you notice our presence? No one should be able to see past my genjutsu, asked Naruto, looking at the roof of a building where the water dragon was launched from. Yagura, Zabuza said, taking notice of where Naruto was looking. No matter how powerful your genjutsu is and how it affects my human senses, there's one thing you can't hide from me. Yagura answered. My Yuki, Naruto said with widened eyes. Exactly, what are you doing in my country? Kyubi? Yagura replied. The others were surprised at Yagura's revelation. None of them knew Naruto was a Jinchuriki, much less the one for the most powerful demon. the Kyubi no Kitsune. They had to keep their questions for later though, since they just lost the element of surprise. I came to kick some turtle's ass, of course. Naruto yelled as he took out his katana. At this moment, a squad of Kiri ANBU arrived on the scene and directly attacked Mei and her guard while Yagura went for Naruto. With Naruto and Yagura was wielding what resembles a large, hook-ended staff with one end being larger than the other. They were engaged in a high-level kinjutsu fight. Naruto tried to use his genjutsu to confuse Yagura, but it failed again. Thanks to the slight yuki present in each of Naruto's thrusts, Yagura could predict and counter them. When close contact fighting seemed useless, Naruto tried to put some distance between them and pointed his blade towards his opponent. Futon, Kaze Shinso, Naruto said as his wind blade extended itself instantly to attack Yagura. Suetun, Mizukagami no Jutsu, Yagura said as a strange circle made of water appeared in front of him. Naruto's jutsu was blocked halfway from its target, strangely enough by the exact same jutsu Naruto launched. The blonde theorized that whatever Yagura did with his mirror jutsu reflected his jutsu or copied it. Naruto tried another approach. He kept launching single kunai that were aimed at his opponent's vital organs, but Yagura easily evaded them all. Naruto then purposely missed with the next one and did some hand signs while Yagura simply let the badly thrown kunai pass him by. Futon, Tsubaime Geishi, he yelled as the kunai suddenly divided itself into 15 copies and changed trajectory towards Yagura's unprotected back. Suetun, Suinjin Hiki, Yagura said as an enormous water column rose from the ground and protected him from the kunai. Naruto cursed as another of his signature move was blocked by the Mizukage. He won't block what he can't see, Naruto then thought as he launched his next jutsu. Futon, Furyuden no Jutsu, Naruto called his Wind Dragon. The Wind Beast was aimed at the base of the water column and effectively hit its target, completely annihilating the spot where Naruto aimed. Unfortunately for the blonde, no one was blasted out of the water protection. Did you really thought that I had to stay at the base of the wall to fuel it with my water chakra? Like a sitting duck? Yagura said as he appeared on top of the column, his arms extended with chakra feeding the water jutsu while keeping him floating above the ground. Suetun, Suishoha, Yagura then yelled from his higher position as a giant wave of water was formed and made its way towards Naruto. Senpo, Ryu no Hata, Naruto said as his dragon wings shielded him from the water attack. Naruto was getting tired in this fight, something that hadn't happened in a long time. He prepared for his next move. Yagura was slightly surprised at the sight of the dragon wings and their defensive power. His moment of hesitation cost him as he missed Naruto launching his next move. Futon, Kamishini no Yari, Naruto launched his divine spear technique from a small hole in his guard between his wings. The Mizukage used his experience to dodge at the last moment but took a hit nevertheless. He was quickly falling to the ground with his shoulder bleeding profusely. When he touched the ground, he was about to look up and put his guard on when he saw that Naruto's next move was already approaching him. Futon, Raisin Shuriken, was all Yagura heard before all went blank. The wind-powered chakra shuriken tore through Yagura, cutting him all over his body in so many places that even a Sharingan wouldn't be able to tell how many hits it generated. When the jutsu died down, Yagura's body was on the floor, unmoving. Naruto was about to reach out for him when he suddenly jumped back. After feeling a huge spike of yuki, Yagura slowly got up and was covered with the Sanbai's chakra. He was in a hybrid form, a chakra shroud covering him while 3 tails of chakra were floating behind his back. What did you do to me? I can't regenerate as I usually do when I activate my yuki, roared the transformed Yagura. You really expect me to answer you? Anyway, let's kick it up a notch, shall we? Naruto said as he activated one of his ultimate form. He's finally drawing out yuki. No point in battling a Jinchuriki in a stamina contest. I'll have to use the other form. He mused as he called his jutsu. Futon, Seiki Kenpatsu no Kawami, Naruto said as the wind violently picked up. Yagura charged at him and engaged the blonde in a taijutsu fight. Be careful, Naruto. In this form, everything he hits is instantly trapped into coral prison structures from the initial point of contact with his Sangosho, yelled Mei as she and the other 3 just finished with their opponents. Naruto nodded to her and gave them a sign with his hand lifting 3 fingers. They understood what he wanted and moved from their position. It doesn't matter if they help you. No one ever came out of this alive. Yagura roared as Naruto continued to evade his every hit with his eyes closed, the ground and walls around them turning into coral structures as Yagura kept missing. Naruto counted to 3 and suddenly leaped back and yelled, "Now!" As he did so, Mei Ao, Zabuza and Haku appeared out of nowhere and positioned themselves around the transformed Yagura in a perfect square formation, with Yagura being the center. Naruto then called his jutsu as each of the 4 rebels suddenly took out a special-looking kunai and planted it strongly into the ground. Uzumaki Hijitsu, Akuma Sokubaku Wana, Naruto yelled, for dark chains appeared from the ground and instantly attached themselves around Yagura's body. The draining effect did its magic pretty quickly as Yagura could not move anymore. Naruto then launched himself in front of the Mizukage and prepared his final move. His right hand ready for an open palm thrust with his fingers radiating a purplish-looking chakra. "Gojio Fuin!" he yelled as he slammed his right hand in Yagura's stomach. The result was immediate. The chakra shroud around Yagura's body dispelled before he fell to the ground unconscious. Naruto deactivated all his techniques and laid down on the ground exhausted. "I guess the was is over," he said as he slowly closed his eyes and fell asleep in the middle of the street.